wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is an absolutely wonderful day. It's great. It's sunny. It's beautiful here in St. Louis. I hope that it's wonderful where you are, because today is a very special day in the history of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, without your help, without the help of all the great sponsors, without all the great professional wrestling personalities, we would never have reached this great day. That is episode 500. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking about it for weeks. We've been talking about it for months. We are now at episode 500. As you saw in the title, it is 500 degrees. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a great show. It's almost like a family reunion here today at the Wrestle Talk Podcast, because we got a lot of great guests that are going to be just popping in throughout the course of the show. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't bring in my confidant, my colleague, and a man who, simply put, has been one of the backbones of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Actually, I'm going to bring them both in right now, as a matter of fact. First, the man behind the boards, the man with a large amount of information, large amount of knowledge. We're going to bring him in, the one, the only, Hardcore Hoss. Hardcore Hoss, how are you doing here this afternoon? And of course, now Hardcore Hoss is taking a moment here to get everything ready to go while we're getting Hardcore Hoss brought into the screen. Hardcore Hoss, how are you doing, my friend, on such a momentous day?
Doing fantastic. Just absolutely excited to be here. Episode 500. What a momentous occasion. It is hard to believe that we have gone through 500 episodes now. Something that not a lot of podcasts can say out there. So this is a huge milestone for Wrestle Talk Podcast, and I am just very excited and very pleased to be a part of it, Luke.
Well, I agree with you, Hoss, 100%. A lot of people have gotten us to this great day, and as a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead here in just a minute and bring in a man who's been around. And Hoss, you and I have been around a long time. We've talked a lot of professional wrestling. We've taught a lot of things when it comes to professional wrestling and personal lives as well. But the man that's going to join us here in just a moment has been one of the cornerstones of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. He has been our executive producer. He's been a co-host. He's been in advertisement. He's been in scheduling. I mean, from top to bottom, this man has been a key part of the Wrestle Talk Podcast for many, many years. And I want to go ahead and bring him in right now. Again, we're going to pick up the energy as if episode 500 wasn't enough. We're going to kick that energy up just a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen, for episode 500, we've got him, the one, the only, the Night Owl, Renee Martinez.
Que pasa, brothers. We made it, gentlemen. Episode 500. And let me tell you,
hold on. Wait a minute. This is episode 500. You have to come in properly.
I was waiting.
As you always do.
Come on. Thank you.
Now we're right.
Okay, now I feel ready. And you know what? It's kind of almost like an animalistic nature type thing. When you do that, I kind of got to do this. Oh, hell yeah, baby. 10 years of doing the roads, making the drives. We went from making phone calls to be able to connect to this show. And now we're live around the world on all of our social media platforms. I mean, I'm going to go on and on throughout this show about how exciting this is. But let me just start off by saying that you call me the backbone of this show. I appreciate that. If I'm the backbone, you guys are the brains and the bronze of the show. Because let me tell you, Joe and I, and then right before that, we started this show very humbly. We were only interested in having a platform so that we could talk to our heroes. People that we looked up to. It was a gimmick from the start, guys. We just wanted to talk to some of the coolest people on the planet, which I believe to be professional wrestlers. They're better than actors. They're better than athletes because they have to be better than both. And now after 10 years, man, I've had a chance to talk to people that I would have never imagined that I would be in the same room with. Somewhere along the way, I got to smoke a stogie with RVD because of this show. And the most exciting news as of late, and I'm not going to put hardly any of it on the show, but I would say it contributed a little bit. As we all know, our very own Luke Skywalker Roberts is a member of the 2025 class of the St. Louis Independent Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. So, man, this show has been a blessing on so many levels, and I certainly feel like I've made friendships that are going to last a lifetime because of the WTP and, of course, by osmosis, the FWWC guys. But what a pleasure to be here with y'all tonight. A lot of surprises for the viewers, man. You never know who's going to pop in. This is going to be a good one, but let's go, baby. 500. You guys can see it right here. I've been waiting a long time to post that right there, and here we are. Let's get it done.
Well, gentlemen, first of all, as you're looking here again, 500 kicked out some special threads for today, making sure kind of set the tone here. And you know, guys, we got a lot of great guests popping in, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go ahead. Tonight, we would break the breaking news sounder. We got that much stuff going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, in just a few moments, as everybody knows, as you saw in the intro, the Wrestle Talk Podcast 500th episode has been working in conjunction with CHWA's John Holt Yo. And I'm going to level with you right now. As a part of last night's festivities, we crowned a brand new CHWA one-up champion. And I'm going to tell you right now, in just a few moments, we are going to be joined by the brand new, as in won it less than 12 hours ago, CHWA one-up champion prior to CHWA's John Holt Yo Night 2. He's going to be joining us here for just a couple of moments later on in I'd say about no more than 10 minutes. But you know, guys, we talked about it at the top of the show. The Wrestle Talk family, the Wrestle Talk Podcast Nation has been a very, very important part of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. But we also have to make it a point to thank all of our great sponsors, because without the sponsors, they are yet just another important piece of what makes us go to episode 500. So let's go ahead and thank all of our great sponsors for the Wrestle Talk Podcast. We got Royal Mills Transportation with the CEO himself, DeJuan Mills. We have Nobleman's Barber Lounge, Kansas City. Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. Our great friends over at Interstate 70 Sports Media with the maestro Jeremy Karp. Little Popeye Designs, some of those great Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers. And of course, as the Night Owl talked about earlier on, the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, a group that you can catch on every Thursday evening right here on all your great social media and digital media outlets. Gentlemen, it's been a great program already. And you know something, Night Owl? I got to level with you. I have been looking forward.
Don't get me started. I got to level with you.
I'm going to tell you right now, I have been looking forward to this. This is something that makes our show each and every week. And I'm going to tell you, we want to give a great big debt of gratitude to our first responders, to our policemen, our firemen, our EMTs, and of course, the men and women who are fighting for us each and every week, each and every day, each and every hour, each and every minute to keep us to be able to do what we do in such a great country and with such great freedoms that we have. So, Night Owl, if you would be so kind, can you go ahead and do our introduction and take care of our last little piece of business before we get to enjoy the celebration of episode 500? So, Night Owl, when you're ready, it's time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of both my favorite and least favorite parts of the show. This is where we weed out the weak. If you can make it past this segment, then you might be able to be called a member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, which, by the way, Sky Roberts, a little bit earlier, you called them the Wrestle Talk Podcast Nation. And Iron Sheik's got a thought on that.
Fucking bullshit!
There we go. All right, so now that that's out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please join me in respectfully removing your caps, placing your hands over your hearts, as we, for the 500th time, pay homage to the greatest country on God's green earth. That's America, damn it. Cue it up, boys.
Oh, man.
We got to
oh,
do
man,
it, John.
Oh, man,
we got to do the line. We got to do the line. Go, JP. Do it, baby.
Brings a tear to your eye or blood to your ears every time.
Single time. Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so quick trivia here before we move on. I don't think Jackson enjoyed that all that much. I think that's the look that Jackson was making when he was listening, except maybe his fingers were in his ears like this. But I will say, bro, that's what weeds out the weak, ladies and gentlemen. If you can make it past Roseanne, formerly Carl Lewis, then maybe you have a chance to be a member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, you know something, Night Owl? As you talked about before, without the Wrestle Talk family, without the sponsors, without all the guests, without people like Big Daddy P, without people like the CEO, this show doesn't run as long as it has. It hasn't run as smooth as it has. And speaking of which, I got to tell you right now, we've got a man standing by. A man who last night, and I made a reference to it on CHWA's commentary of John Holt Yo Night 1. This is a man who, simply put, was endorsed by the native nightmare himself, Jeremy Lightfoot, as the future of the CHWA. And last night, he created history as a part of John Holt Yo. A man who, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I would be surprised if he wasn't celebrating half the night and was still going strong this morning. He wanted to stop by and take just a minute to chat with us here on episode 500 and bring a little bit of gold to episode 500. So, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me, and I think this is the first time it's been said, to introduce to you the brand new CHWA one-up champion, the crowd pleaser himself, Cardi Marty.
What's up, Wrestle Talk Podcast?
What up,
Cardi?
champ?
I gotta ask you, man. How does it feel to hear that with your name? And look, he's already polishing up the belt. How does it feel to hear the new CHWA one-up champion, Cardi Marty. How does that feel?
I mean, it feels it still doesn't feel real just yet because it just happened last night, and then I found out that I will be defending it tonight as well. So it feels pretty good, but I just got to make sure that I stay with this feeling from now on. So.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you right now to give you a little bit of backstory here, and I know the champ is very busy having a match here tonight. He defeated a man in Logan Simmons who had held that championship for right at a year. And he have Freddie Jack Funkhauser, a member of the Wrestle Talk family here as well. I got to tell you, champ, defeating Logan Simmons, you could tell the energy, the excitement, everything goes along with being a champion. And who comes out to rain on your parade but the one and only Aleister Crowe, former CHWA champion? I got to ask you, in the middle of your celebration, what did it feel like to have Aleister Crowe come out? And he didn't say anything. He just pointed at that championship belt, and he made his intentions known. How did it feel to know that Aleister Crowe is definitely on the hunt for your CHWA one-up time?
I mean, I'm used to dancing and people staring at me or popping up on me like that, but that was the last person I was expecting to pop up. I really don't know if he wants to beat me up or if he just want to take the belt, but I know that he's gonna have to go through me to get the belt. So yeah, I hope he knows that I may be faster than him. I got plenty of tricks up my sleeve, so if he wants to go through me to get this, then I'm ready for him.
Well, guys, I'm not gonna take all the champ's time. I know he's very busy. Night Owl, I'm gonna send it over to you here. We've got the CHWA one-up champion Cardi Marty joining us here on episode 500.
So, Cardi, I want to ask this question. And by the way, man, congratulations on a huge win last night. Kind of amazing that you get the opportunity to be kind of front and center 2 nights in a row. I think that's pretty amazing. Question is this: how do you prep in less than 24 hours? Because that's got to be a little bit different compared to having a whole week in some cases to prepare for the next weekend's matches. How is it any different for you?
Well, since I got up this morning, when you opened up your little can of beer, I had my little version of beer. It's really just a little probiotic shot. But just a little something with that and do a few little dance videos, loosen up. But honestly, I stay ready, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, I bust my butt at training 3 days a week, hours a week. Like, this is what I do for a living. I don't even have to take more, than too much time to get ready. So yeah, I'm already ready for tonight.
Perfect. And follow-up question, and we'll throw it over to John. It's pretty simple from my perspective. We have a lot of OGs here on the show, and we love it because we love to hear the stories. But I also like having the young guys on here to ask you a simple question, man. Who are some of the OGs that have been dropping game in your ear that have allowed you to get so much success so early on in your career? I'm curious.
Well, honestly, thank you for saying that I had so much success early in my career, for one. I can, of course, as we already said, Jeremy Lightfoot, that's my legend Lightfoot right there. I always make sure that he is the one that I talk to when I see him because he gives me that talk before and after my matches. When I'm at, the dojo training, Sadie Blaze, Ricky Rodriguez, those two, like, they're there for me all the time. I don't think Ricky may be an OG just yet, but to me, I can look at him as a future icon because he teaches me just about everything that I know right now. But yeah, Sadie Blaze for sure.
You know what? I'm going to jump in and just one last thing, John. I did get a message. I am not at liberty to disclose whom, but the message is simple. It says, Cardi is on the radar of the Golden Circle. Does that mean anything to you, Cardi?
I'm going to take it as a compliment. I haven't heard of the term Golden Circle just yet, so that's new to me.
All right, well, we'll have to see down the road exactly what that means. JP, what do you got for us, Hoss?
So, congratulations on winning the championship and also best of luck tonight in defending it. If you're successful tonight in defending it, who would you like to defend it against next?
Well, I would like to just go ahead and get Crow out the way while I can. But you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't mind giving Logan a rematch. I feel like we still got some unfinished business in the ring. And if he wants to come back and do his thing so I can get him officially out the way, then I can do that too.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now as we got things here, Cardi Marty, the brand new CHWA one-up champion, if you want to catch him in his first defense here tonight, as a part of John Holt Yo Night 2, make it a point to go to the Sports Academy located at 101 The Game Drive in Glen Carbon. Tickets will be available at the door. And guys, I'm going to tell you, if night 1 was any indication, night 2 is going to be off the charts. I know we have a undisputed CHWA championship match. The Wind of Destruction Makazi defending the championship against the one-man Zoo L Ride. We've got all the great LWA, but you got the CHWA competitors that are going to be here as a part of the program. And Cardi Marty's going to be having his first defense of that CHWA one-up championship. Cardi, we want to thank you for coming on the program and look forward to seeing you in just a few hours at John Holt Yo Night 2.
For sure. I really appreciate it. And happy 500th episode to the Wrestle Talk podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the crowd pleaser, Cardi Marty, joining us here on episode 500. Gentlemen, we said before, we don't know who all is going to stop in here today as part of episode 500. We had the crowd pleaser, and we're going to go ahead here and continue on. We got a lot of great things going on here as a part of episode 500. Gentlemen, as Cardi kind of alluded to, it's sinking in now. Episode 500. And I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, we got a lot of surprises. We had the CHWA one-up champion, and good old Luke Roberts here. I want to share this with you, gentlemen. We've got a lot of people from throughout the professional wrestling world that have been communicating with us and congratulating us. And we've seen it all. And again, if you haven't made it a point, go out on social media, check all those great videos from people from across the world who have been giving us our support here. And I want to go ahead here, and we got Michael's Wrestling Channel checking in. First thing I want to share with you, gentlemen, I don't know if you can see this as well. This is from the Illinois House of Representatives. And I want to go ahead and take just a second here and read it. It says here, 103rd General Assembly, House of Representatives, acknowledges the Wrestle Talk podcast in recognition of your 500th episode and joins in the commemoration of the effort, dedication, and hard work that has led to success, and further expresses its best wishes for personal happiness and professional achievement offered by Illinois State Representative Katie Stewart. I'm going to go ahead, guys, and I'll bring this up here right now. I'm going to try to get it back on the screen. Yeah, you see it, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
The state of Illinois
That's
acknowledging the Wrestle Talk podcast. And I'm going to tell you right now, and thank you, Jackson, for acknowledging the great jacket here that I'm wearing. And guys,
hey,
that's
I think that calls for
of
another Mexican yell. Skywalker, can we get a Mexican yell for that? I had to do it, bro. That is a huge, huge honor for us, bro. Being honored by your peers is one thing. Being honored by the entire community is another. But to be honored by your state government, man, kudos to the state of Illinois. They did not have to do that. That was freaking amazing.
Very much true. And like I said, we got lots more coming up here. And you know something, guys? We've got more people that are popping in here.
I got one.
Night Owl, I'm gonna leave it to you. I know this man's been talking about it for a while. Night Owl, take it away here. We got more guests popping in on episode 500.
Yeah, and don't fret, guys. The rest of the regular hosts will be joining us momentarily. But up next, a buddy of mine from the Kansas City wrestling area. We will not be outdone by Southern Illinois and St. Louis tonight, baby. West Virginia. Virginia's going to be in the house. We are not letting St. Louis take this over. Because our representation, he was in Kansas City, but now he's residing in a quaint little town down in Georgia. Some of you guys from the old school might remember him as Ray Gamma. Some of you gamers and fans of that community, the Twitch community, which, by the way, we are on Twitch now, y'all. Hopefully y'all are digging that. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and yours, Jason Mortis, a.k.a. Ray Gamma, a.k.a. Mortis the Saurus. Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight this afternoon for episode 500, bro. Thank you for taking a few minutes, dog. Thank you. Also, general manager PIW and all kinds of other cool shit, right?
I've done a little bit of everything. What's going on, Renee? What's going on, Haas? What's going on, Luke?
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, to have Jason joining us here is truly an honor and a privilege. Now, Jason, I got to ask you, you've been around us for a long time. You know how things run here at the Wrestle Talk podcast. And I got to ask you, did you ever believe that we would get to episode 500?
Absolutely. I did, you know. I think I met Renee, what's it been? Shoot, 9 years ago, something like that. By the time when I was just starting in wrestling and everything, I saw Renee at the KCXW shows and everything. And I think that was about the time you were starting Wrestle Talk, maybe. Was it about
Absolutely.
that time?
Well, Wrestle Talk's been around a little bit longer than what I was doing commentary for KCX, but I will always credit KCX for giving me my first opportunity to live out my dream and be a commentator. So shout out KCXW and the XWC, of course.
Yeah, but watching the Wrestle Talk podcast and everything, and seeing everybody's personalities, just the way that you interact with the guests and everything, and the fans, everybody loves the show. So I knew you guys be around 500 episodes and 500 more. I'm sure you guys will hit 1,000, no problem.
Dude, that's absolutely awesome. And guys, I want to make sure everybody knows this is not something that Jason likes to brag about, but he does rub elbows with the who's who of professional wrestling from time to time. Are you not moderating for pro wrestling legend Medusa on certain occasions during her podcast and show, Jason?
Yes, I'm one of Medusa's Mad Mod Squad, as she calls us. Actually, I think this week marks her 4-year anniversary on Twitch. Go twitch.tv/Medusa_rocks. She normally schedules every Wednesday unless she's busy, and she's been getting a lot of signings and bookings and everything lately.
She was just at CAC like last month, right?
She's a big part of CAC. She does a lot of stuff with them. I'm actually, thanks to her and Mike Pappas. If you remember Mike Pappas, he was he just passed away a couple years ago. I got to meet him in Springfield, Missouri, when he was there was the documentary The Flying Greek was about him, and Medusa was doing the narration of that. And I went down there during the showing of that and got to meet him. He was just such a great guy. But they talked about the CAC a lot down there, and they kind of Mike Pappas and Medusa kind of convinced me to sign up myself. So I'm a lifetime CAC member myself. So as of
worthwhile organization. We're huge supporters. Yeah. Huge supporters. Yeah. Well, Jason, we obviously, we know that the weekends are not like time that you take off. We know you stay busy all year round. I just knew that if we were going to be connected to somebody that is from the community, you've always been a world-class guy with me, man. Even when we would sit backstage, when I was getting ready to do commentary, you're always one of the guys that had a great backstory. You went through a tremendous injury, kind of found your way back, found a new niche. Now you've moved down with your beautiful wife down to Georgia, man. We're super proud of you, bro. And want to thank you for being a longtime supporter, bro. I went back and looked. I think you were part of the show around episode 100. So think about where we are now.
That sounds about right. I'm pretty sure I was on 2 episodes though. That's
2. Your first appearance was right around episode 100.
Okay.
So, thank you, bro. Thank you for being a long-time member. Yeah.
And then the second time was right when COVID hit. I remember because we were like, can we sit next to each other?
Yeah, I remember our ratings went up that day. I remember that for sure. Because good old Ray Gamma was there. Well, brother, anything else you want to pitch or shout out before we let you get out of here tonight? And again, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate you. I just want to say thank you to you guys. Awesome 500 episodes, and check out Medusa's Twitch channel and just keep doing what you're doing. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. Be safe down there in Georgia. Save some peaches for the rest of us.
All right, take care, guys.
Peace.
All right, guys.
I
This
got
keeps
one more,
rocking and
Rob.
rolling.
Rob, I got
Let's
one
go.
more.
Let's
and he's a
go.
little
We got
short.
him.
Listen, like Jason, he's also a very busy guy, also a promoter.
Mhm.
And as much as I credit KCSW for giving me my first chance at commentary, I have to say that this other gentleman, he's the one that helped me to go from somebody who was dabbling in it to really living that life and becoming one of the key voices for several years of one of my favorite promotions ever. Now he's branched off and has something just as special or better going. You guys probably already know who I'm talking about. He's been on the show several times. Amigos, my friend and yours, el más chingón patron, the one and only Billy Mother Dolphin Simmons, baby.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on? What's going on?
500 episodes? What?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, let's go. Hey,
Billy.
congratulations, guys. 500 is a huge, huge milestone. Keep kicking ass. Good job. Good job, man.
I could go on forever, but I'll let my boys go first. John, Rob, any quick thoughts or questions for Billy? Obviously, you guys know what he means to me. I could go on forever about it, but I want to give you guys a quick chance because he is on a little bit of a time restraint.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to jump in here. Billy had an opportunity to work with you up in the Kansas City area. And again, always an honor and a privilege to see you here. I got to ask you, my friend, as you were talking about it earlier, how does it feel to have been a part of the Wrestle Talk family for as long as you have and be here as a part of episode 500?
Man, it's a great honor. When Renee reached out and told me it was the 500th episode, I couldn't have been more honored that he asked me to be on here. The amount of work and stuff that it takes to run a podcast, not only for a few episodes, but 500 is a statement. I just recently started a podcast myself called
Shout out to Chubby
Bumping
Buddies.
Chops.
Shout out, yo, bro. That's a great
And
podcast.
bro, it is harder than anyone thinks. So 500 episode is a statement to you guys. Keep busting your tails.
Love it. John, what do you got for the big guy?
Just want to say thank you for stopping in. Thank you for coming to wish us 500, and thank you for being a part of the Wrestle Talk family and all the support that you've given us throughout the years. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for support from guys like you and a lot of the others. So thank you very much.
Y'all are very welcome, man. Like I said, you've got a good thing going. If 500 episodes doesn't speak volumes to what good y'all have going, nothing else does. So, and then my boy Renee over there, always holding it down, always got my back. I wish he'd just come back to work for me full time.
I would, bro, but I'm too busy washing dishes, bro. Today's my dish day. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't get away from it anymore. Well, I just got two quick ones for you, bro, because I know you're on the road doing your thing. Number one, like me, I think we share this in common. As much as we love people to give us our props and give us our flowers, you know what I'm saying? Like, and for you especially, like super well deserved for everything you've done for the community, not only in Kansas but in the entire Midwest. Some of your guys are branching out. Like I've seen the guys are like Skill, right? Like them boys are out doing their own promotion. Shout out to them. They got Diablo over there, and then it's bro. Like I said, I could go on forever, but I'm gonna keep it to two quick things. Number one, Heartland Championship Wrestling, bro. You guys have been going steady. You're all over the state. If you had to point somebody at one particular match, I know this is hard for you to do. If one particular match, like, hey, this match alone is worth the price of admission on your upcoming card, bro, drop that knowledge on us, man. Because I seen the lineup. I see you got Ray Leon on there. I mean, you got some hitters, bro. Some hitters.
So the upcoming card, man, that main event between Aaron Helms and Eddie Rydell versus Drake Gallows and Ray Leon is going to be wild in itself. So that's going to be worth the admission alone.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Anytime that I had a chance to call a match for you, bro, it felt like that from the beginning to the end of the show. And one thing that I remember you showing me was, Renee, you gotta ascend. And what I was doing early on is I was peaking on my first match because the talent that you bring in, I think it justifies it. Like I'm watching your opening match, 3-4 years ago, and you have, Cameron Bernay, who was in NXT for who knows how many years, versus Stormy Renee, which is the hottest female wrestler in all of probably the States right now that's unsigned. This was the opening matches on Billy's card 3 years ago, y'all. That was how I'm like, bro. And then he taught me, he's like, "I slow it down and let it build." And that was one of the greatest lessons that I got from Billy. Go ahead, Rob.
Night Owl, I got to throw you out here too. I remember an event in Kansas City, and I had an opportunity to be in the stripes. And you know who you talked about? Cameron Bernay, Stormy Renee in the ring. I got to tell you, both those ladies are on fire in the world of professional wrestling. And again, Billy setting the tone many, many years ago.
Yeah, well, when it comes to Kansas wrestling, I think Billy Simmons, regardless of the organization that he's representing, is the measuring stick, bro. I think everybody knows that. Here's the last and final thing, and we'll let you get out of here, bro. How's Tua doing?
Man. Listen, it's concerning.
How's a tough one?
Not only as a Dolphins fan, but you know how I feel about people in general. And so that man's livelihood could be on the line with those kind of head injuries. So I wish him the best. I hope that he takes the doctor's advice and takes his time to come back if he ever decides to come back. And that decision needs to be between him and his family. Concussions are very, very bad. It's caused a lot of stuff, not only in the sports world in general, but the wrestling world also. So, the big things to be careful about.
Well, and that's obviously I asked you that question because I know you're sensitive to it, but I'll kind of attach on this little sub question. Because of your responsibility as a promoter, what could you say to the wrestlers of today, both young and old, as far as taking care of themselves? Because we all know this little thing called a bump card. And we all know that you're a trainer and that you've been in the ring many, many times. What advice could you pass along, like how you helped me early on, to those guys to make sure that they have longevity in their careers? Because 500 episodes, bro, it's not about us being great. It's about us being consistent. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that we've been able to be consistent, that's the key, right? Talk to us about that, Billy.
So just making sure you don't take unnecessary bumps. Like you build to those big matches, big bumps. Crowds nowadays, they like moves. So I can't sit here and tell people, oh, don't do this, don't do that, because the crowd enjoys that. So we give them what they like. But learn to protect yourself. Don't do things unnecessarily. Remember, you can take 5 less bumps and still tell a fantastic story that probably will get cheered even more than those extra 5 needed. So big things there. Still there, fellas?
I know I'm here, Billy, and like I said, I know the Night Owl's taking care of things, and we're getting a tour here of things. But Billy, on behalf of the Wrestle Talk podcast, I want to say thank you for joining us here on the program. Again, you are one of the big reasons why episode 500 is going on here today live on all the great media outlets. And again, I want to give you a shout out for all the great things you've done for professional wrestling, as well as all the things you've done for us here at the Wrestle Talk podcast. Continued success, and look forward to seeing you again real soon.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great episode and a fantastic day. I'm out of here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Billy Simmons here on the program. Now, I know that the one, the only, the Night Owl is going to be back with us here in just a moment. You know something, Hardcore Hoss? We got a lot of things going on here on the program today. But tell you what, I want to go ahead in just a minute. I want to bring on 2 very special people to bring on the program. But before we do, and I know for a fact that you have it on your controls here, being the man behind the controls of the Wrestle Talk podcast many a time, we have a very small video, and just to pull it up, it's under the file of number 9 on the program here. We're going to go ahead. We have a couple more friends of the Wrestle Talk podcast who sent their congratulations here to the program. So Hardcore Hoss, we're going to go ahead and we're going to air that video. It's only about a minute long, ladies and gentlemen. When we return, hopefully the Night Owl will be back with us, and we're going to have two key parts of the Wrestle Talk podcast joining us as we enjoy episode 500. Hardcore Hoss, can you hit that video real quick?
Hey, this is Mr. Beefy Goodness Vance Nevada, a 59-time champion in Canadian professional wrestling and a 3-time published author, award-winning historian, and I am here to congratulate Luke and the team at the Wrestle Talk podcast on their upcoming 500th episode. That's an incredible milestone, and you should all be very proud of yourselves. Straight from my heart to you, congratulations.
Israel Sharif Fakor here, wanting to congratulate all the fine gentlemen over at Wrestle Talk Podcast on celebrating 500 episodes. You guys are well deserved to be where you are, and 500 episodes is a great feat. So from me to you, here's to 500 more, my friends.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, words from, again, more members of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. And again, guys, I'm going to level with you here. The next two gentlemen that are going to be joining us here are men that have been known for the Wrestle Talk podcast for quite a long time. The first one that we're going to bring on here is a man that's very close to me, a man I've known for far too many years. We're not going to talk about how long because it will show how old both of us really are. But again, this man has been around countless promotions in the Midwest. Again, probably one of the most well-known voices, not just to the Wrestle Talk podcast, one of the most well-known voices to professional wrestling here in the St. Louis metropolitan area. Let's welcome in longtime member of the Wrestle Talk podcast, the one, the only, big sexy Chris Rodell. Rodell, how you doing, my friend? John Holt, night one's in the books. Night two's coming up. How you doing, friend? You holding up?
Oh yeah, my voice was kind of going out a little bit last night near the end, so I still got another night to do. So it could be a long night. I might have to tap you in later on to take some announcement.
Well, like I said, Chris, I mean, again, that's one of those we got to do it. I mean, we got a great night of professional wrestling still to come, and I'd be remiss to say, how does it feel to be a part of Wrestle Talk's 500th episode?
It's 500 because I remember our first delving into the Wrestle Talk podcast was when if my memory serves me right, it was when we were doing the Stroke Ain't No Joke show. And we had Jordan, I believe we had Jordan Grace and Santana Garrett was on the show. And it was me and you. We got into a little room and we dialed into the Wrestle Talk podcast. We called it, and it was Renee and Joe. And I believe Rick was on there too at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the evolution has been amazing with the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Well, Chris, I'm going to tell you right now, man. I mean, again, to go from there to now, I mean, again, it's literally night and day. Hardcore Hoss, I want to go ahead and throw things to you here. We're going to have Chris here for a while on the program, I hope, today. Hoss?
Yeah, Chris, it's great to see you. It's been a while since we've been together here on the show, and just happy to have you back here. And
I see you're still are you still the hardcore champion? You still have not lost that?
I am still the hardcore champion, the longest reigning hardcore champion.
Are you ever going to give that belt up?
Maybe one day. I'll think about it.
It's good to see you, man. I'm glad you're doing well, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, there's another guest waiting. And I know that the Night Owl is going to be back with us here in just a moment or two. But this man right now, he was talking about OGs. And I'm going to say this. This man who's about to join us, is one of, I mean, I don't want to say one of, he was there for number one. A man that has been a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family since the beginning. And I'm going to tell you, it is an honor and a privilege to have him here for episode 500. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Talk podcast, the one, the only Nightmare Jones.
Hi, guys.
Joe, how you doing, my friend?
I'm great. How are you all doing? Episode 500. Wow.
Did you ever figure we'd get here, Nightmare?
I surely did not. I mean, we're talking about when I started the podcast, I had maybe one or two people watching. To how many other people we have watching now is absolutely amazing. This is great.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Jonesy, we got you here on the program, and I was going to save this here, and there you go right there. That wasn't what I was saving. I believe in Joe Lance.
Right.
Now, gentlemen, I'm going to level with you here. This is a celebration. This is an opportunity for us to really celebrate 500 episodes of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And Hoss, Jonesy, I told Rodell about our earlier presentation, but we got another one. And again, guys, I want to share this with you, and I want both of you to be here for this. Jonesy, can you read what's on this?
West Virginia Senate.
I want to go ahead and share this with you. Again, the Wrestle Talk family is throughout the world, and gentlemen, I thought this was very fitting. It's from the West Virginia Senate, and it says, in recognition of the Wrestle Talk podcast 10th year anniversary, congratulating Wrestle Talk podcast for airing 500 episodes and for celebrating its 10th anniversary. Whereas Joe Lance of Branson, West Virginia, and Richard Rose of Port Clinton, Ohio, have had a vision to create a podcast where professional wrestling could be discussed on the local, national, and international levels with fans across the world. Whereas on October 21st, 2014, the vision became a reality as Joe and Richard launched the Wrestle Talk podcast. Today, the podcast has nearly 5,000 listeners in over 20 countries, where wrestling fans come together and can interact and discuss current events in the world of professional wrestling. Whereas the staff has grown, and it lists all of our staff members on here throughout the country. Whereas through its candid interviews with professional wrestlers and personalities within the professional wrestling world, the Wrestle Talk podcast has brought joy to professional wrestling fans from all 50 states and around the globe by providing weekly entertainment and information about the world of professional wrestling. Therefore, we hereby congratulate the Wrestle Talk podcast for airing 500 episodes and for celebrating its 10th anniversary. And it's noted here by Craig Blair, Senate President of the Senate and Lieutenant Governor, Lee Cassis, Clerk of the Senate, and the Honorable Senator Patricia Recker of the 16th Senatorial District. And gentlemen,
Wow.
I want to show this to you here. I'm going to back this up a little bit so you can see the whole document in itself. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, leaving a little bit of surprise. We'll go ahead and pop the ball back up. Gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, on behalf of the West Virginia Senate, they actually have sent us copies for the family of Rick Rose, for Nightmare Jones,
Nice.
and for Hardcore Hoss. Gentlemen, I got to ask you, 500, how does it feel to be recognized not only by your home state Senate, but your own state senator in your accomplishments?
Wow, I don't have any words. This is amazing. I never thought that this would ever is going to happen. This is awesome. Hoss, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I don't know what to say. There's no words for it. So thank you guys.
Hey, well, gentlemen, like I said, you guys both have been a very big part of the Wrestle Talk podcast for a long, long time. And speaking of which, gentlemen, Rodell, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring on a man that you and I both saw in action last night. And tonight he's going to be a part of John Holt Yo Night 2. And I know he's a very busy man. We're going to go ahead and bring him on. Last night he fought his own family.
His brother.
In the Dragonfly, Chris Exodus, former CHWA undisputed champion. And right now, as we're seeing, whoa, wait a minute. We're going to change it up a little bit here because they're sitting here.
See, you're doing it
You can't
again.
clap.
If
you do paper, bro, if you do paper, you can't. Okay, last one.
All right, we're going to change
Gentlemen,
things up here real
you're
quick.
live here.
Tell you what, guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to come back to the night out. Well, I guess they realize that they're here now.
What are you guys doing here?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Night Owl and Sonny Money joining us here.
Were you guys just arguing? Were you guys just arguing about the rules of rock paper scissors?
Yeah, because whenever he kept doing paper, but he wasn't throwing out, he was clapping, and it was throwing me off. This guy. This is why we can't get along.
There's no clapping.
You can't get along.
No, bro, I'm the one that's trying to get along.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Whatever. Okay, well.
There's no clapping. It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Exactly. No clapping.
Listen, anybody who endorses Quick Trip Pizza, I don't want to hear any advice from them, okay? That was episode 312 or something like that. I've been dealing with that.
I just had a Quick Trip Pizza last night.
You see what I mean? You see exactly what I mean?
All right.
He's got the box.
Well, gentlemen, we could have this quick trip discussion all day long. And like I said, before we got to find out that, yes, the Night Owl and Sonny Money can play rock, paper, scissors, we're going to be joined here by a man who last night fought his own brother in the Dragonfly, Chris Exodus. And tonight is a man that is on a mission. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a staple of the CHWA. The one, the only, the one-man zoo, L Ride. L Ride, how are you doing, my friend? You look like you're feeling the effects of that match last night against Chris Exodus.
Oh, absolutely. Everything hurts. When you fight a brother at your biggest event of the entire creation of your company for the first time, and you both don't ever hold back at this event. At the openings of the show, I said to those who were haters of us, who wanted us to just vanish or die off, they might have got their wish last night. But look, both of us are still standing. We're standing strong. And now my eyes are set on the big goal at hand, and that being undisputed title holding Mikaze and taking it away from his reign of terror.
Well, Elride, I got to ask you. I mean, again, you talked about the fight, and again, brothers seem to have the most challenging of fights. I mean, again, Chris and I can tell you for many, many years of what brothers, how sometimes we don't necessarily get along. But again, you're going from literally from one extreme to the other. Tonight, you're fighting the Wind of Destruction, Mikaze, a man who, and I dare say this, a lot of people, yourself included, have considered almost like a father figure. And tonight, you're at the biggest event in the history of the CHWA, and you're competing against a man who basically has been a father figure to you in this industry. How does it feel to know that you've got so much on the line tonight, and how do you prepare literally after a match with Chris Exodus? How do you prepare for somebody the likes of Mikaze?
Well, for myself, the main thing was goal for the last night's match was to get me to be willing to do what was necessary, not what was right. Because our entire career, I've been the guy who did what was right. I'm the person who showed me a lot. And I think it's that Chris had to show that I needed to believe in ruthlessness, because that is what Mikaze is all about. Mikaze is showing that ruthlessness can be a mercy to ourselves. And like you said, he's been like a father figure to a handful of us at CHWA, a good chunk of us now. And my biggest goal is to have to prove he knows us very well because he taught us, but we know him well because he taught us. And I'm going to make sure that he doesn't realize I study more than most of our other fellow students of his. And I've watched him. I've watched old matches. I've watched him now. And I am putting every bit of thought, every bit of his strategy, everything that I can strategize. And I'm going to show that I know him inside out like a book.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Elrod, tonight you've got a very big task on the plate. And I know full well, too, John Holt Yo Night 2 or John Holt Yo 10 Night 2. Got to make sure it's proper. Tonight, not only do you have that, we found out earlier in the show we have the first defense of the One-Up Championship. I believe that we're going to have the Revolution taking on Dysfunction, I believe, is going to be gracing the CHWA ring again. And, of course, too, and you mentioned it at the top of the show last night, more members of the CHWA Hall of Fame are going to be announced tonight. Again, I know you're very busy, but in just a few seconds, can you share with us, if anybody who's never seen the CHWA, how important is it if you're in the St. Louis area to get a ticket for John Holt Yo Night 2?
When it comes down to, like, John Holt, it's not a huge event to a lot of people because it took us a long time to get to where we are. It's a long time to get the crowd to know who we were and not be hated, because for a long time, for probably half of our existence, at least 5 years, we were the hated company. We were the kids from a backyard, and everybody's like, these guys need to get trained, and we were the bane of existence. And we've now rose to the occasion, and we have proven to get the respect of our peers, and now we are actually treated as the St. Louis Wrestling Company we are. And to those who don't know, this show has been built up to for 6 months, and some of the matches have been built up for almost 2 years. Me and Mikaze, this is something that is the culmination of 2 years almost. When he first stepped foot in our ring at a King of the Hills Rumble in 2023, he held up Chris Exodus's hand, gave us a lot of props, but then laid him out in the same 15 minutes. And it started there, and it became a tumble. He threw fire in my face and temporarily blinded me. He broke one of our good friends, and he was our former announcer. He's our cameraman. He does all of our behind-the-scenes deal. He broke his arm. He had Angelo Grimsley arrested. He constantly threatened Chris Exodus to the point where he almost attacked a pregnant girlfriend of his with a steel chair as she went to defend his already beaten body. Mikaze shows ruthlessness. We have Dysfunction first ever appeared last night, which is a huge debut for us. They're OVW talent. They're seen all over the place. This is a huge culmination. We had members of multiple companies I never imagined would be there. So it's one of those things where if you want to see that underdog fighting the big dogs kind of thing, that's what we are. CHWA, the Cottage Hills Wrestling Alliance, is always going to be that underdog company of St. Louis. Because until there's a new company that shows up after us and it has to go through those steps, we are at the bottom of the chain. But we fight and we claw and we scratch, and we will pull our way to the top to be held up against the greats like St. Louis Anarchy, Glory Pro, and we want to be recognized as a company on their level. So if you want to see a show that is truly that level, you have to be at John Holt Yo 10.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right there from the man who's going to be challenging for the undisputed CHWA championship later tonight as part of John Holt Yo Night 2 in Glen Carbon, Illinois at the Sports Academy. The one-man zoo, Elrod. Elrod, I know you're very busy. We're going to go ahead and let you get ready for your matchup here tonight. Look forward. I know Rodell and myself are going to be sitting ringside along with countless other fans and personalities. We're all going to be watching as you have your chance to challenge for the CHWA undisputed title tonight at John Holt Yo.
I look forward to seeing you both there tonight.
See you later, my friend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one-man zoo, Elrod. And guys, I'm going to tell you this. It seems like every time we turn around, now what is this?
You're the same as fucking him, bro.
He's making what is this?
Bro,
He wants to
episode
stand down
500, and we
on
can't even get 500 episodes. We can't even get nothing going here. He's a CEO.
Are we playing? Are you playing the game? How many?
I don't like Quick Trip Pizza, but I do like paper, rock, scissors, and then I know how to play.
Paper, rock, scissors, shoot.
That's what I said.
Right.
But you don't
You're
clap.
telling me something different. I can't do it.
Okay, guys.
All right, guys,
So two things
we
very
got it.
quickly. Roberts, I just want to say shout out to L Ride. I had to calm these guys down. We've officially met the quota. The UN is in the house. Okay, we got representation from everywhere. Okay. The other thing I want to say is that L Ride is the freaking man. What a freaking badass. We were sitting back here listening to the interview, man. Shout out to John Holyo, huge event. Shout out to CHWA. You guys are absolutely killing. But we're here to stay now. I just had to get these freaking troublemakers in line before I brought them out here. I should have seen them before I got here. They were trying to DDT each other and shit like that.
Are we
trying to lock in the $1 million
Oh
dream.
my!
It was getting
Oh my! Oh my! Oh my! Well, you know, guys, it seems like every time we turn around, we got more members of the Wrestle Talk podcast family here. And you know something, guys, we're about an hour in, and as we do each and every week here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, we got a couple more guests. And for those that are standing by, we are going to get to you as quick as we can. But right now, we're going to go ahead and take just a couple minutes. A man who's been around for a long time of the Wrestle Talk podcast, and I want to go ahead and bring him on here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as the man behind the snippets of truth, which you can see every week here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. It'd only be fitting with episode 500. And Hardcore Hoss, if you get his music ready, it's time for the one, the only Big Daddy P.
What up, boy? What up?
Big Daddy P, how you doing, my friend?
Would you ever imagine on show 500 that our prayers would be answered? I couldn't go one more moment without turning on and seeing Sonny. That was such a blessing to me because let me tell you, with all families, sometimes families don't agree. And what you always hope for is unity and to see everybody together. And Nightmare Jones, 500, man, what a blessing. And I just want to thank the Lord for these relationships and for all the positivity and all the goodness. And, you know, at first when I turned on the show, I thought I was seeing Larry Moe and Curly. Congratulations, you guys. Hard working, well deserved.
Oh,
Curly.
Well, Big Daddy P, I know that today is a special day. We've all talked about it. I know you and I have had conversations. You've had conversations with every one of us. And again, today we got a lot of things going on. Again, we got John Holt Yo Night 2. I know that our broadcast colleague, the Maestro Jeremy Karp, is going to be in an event. I think it's From Dusk Till Dawn 2. It's going to be taking place. I know big time Jimmy Harris was here earlier on. I believe he's still here as well. You see the post right here, the 125th anniversary of the South Broadway Athletic Club, the place that trained this Hall of Famer right there. And I'll go ahead and give them a shout out here. They're going to be having their 125th anniversary of the venue tonight with JSO taking on the MMWA champion Slammer in a Lumberjeff match. And yes, you heard me right. It is a Lumberjeff match. I'm not even going to go on to that one. Got a lot of great things. I know that Hardcore Hoss is going to be going to see Micro Wrestling tomorrow in Ranson. Again, we got a lot of things. Got the gentleman over here trying to figure out if they're ever going to be able to play rock, paper, scissors. I mean, We got a lot of things going on. Big Daddy P, I know we got a lot of things to take care of, but I think today, I'm going to say tonight, but Night Owl got me all flustered. Can we take just a minute of our time here? And you are the man who gives us a lot of vision, a lot of voice. Can you go ahead and take a minute here and have a word very quickly in this great day, not just for the Wrestle Talk podcast, but for many people throughout the world, and even for those who are having a bad day? Can you go ahead and share just a few words to put this episode and put life in perspective?
Well, first of all, raise your glasses to Wrestle Talk. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Take it off me. I want to see these glasses.
Yep.
And let's raise a toast to the next 500.
Here we are, gentlemen.
One of the funny things about truth in it is that there's only one truth. And the truth is the Wrestle Talk podcast is really centered around one word. And you might not know it by watching the show, but if you go down deep to the essence of what Wrestle Talk is all about, here's the 4-letter word. You ready? And it's not what you think. Love. Love. And the love that people have not only for professional wrestling, but each other, where you guys dedicate your time to show love to all of these people in regards to all of these relationships and all of these situations. You could be doing a lot of things right now, but you're celebrating a 500 episode podcast, which most people don't get that far. So I just want to encourage you that if you've been chosen to do something and the people that are around you maybe say, don't do it, don't listen to them. Because I'm sure along this 500 episode journey, there have been times that maybe people have wanted to stop or quit. But I want you to think about all those people who have been affected by these shows. If this show saves one life, then it was worth all the money and all the effort to put it on. Because in the end, all we have is each other. And with a world that has so much evil and so much hate, I thank God that every week he makes available an opportunity for us to just stop and be thankful for all that we have. Because tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's not for anybody. But the fact that we have been able, for as long as we have, to provide encouragement in the midst of chaos, which is exactly the formula the WWE used for the last, I don't know how many years. So I just want to thank you that you've allowed me to be a part of it. I want to thank God that he continues to hear my prayers. I'm telling you, seeing everybody together was the one thing I wanted. And if I had to come out there myself to make it happen, which I was willing to do, but God had his way in this. And so I just wanted to, anybody that happens to be listening to this episode, to 500, whatever God has called you to do it. And do it without reservation, do it without hesitation, because he can always be trusted with everything pertaining to our life. That's why he made it possible for us to be here. So again, just thank you for the love that you've shown me over all these years and your patience with my schedule. And just always know that even after Big Daddy P is long gone, somebody will pick up the spot that I stopped in, because I took over for somebody else in this generation. I don't know who. I'm not necessarily concerned, because I just know that in times like today, with things that we're dealing with across the world, not just here in the United States, that hope is lacking. People are afraid. And may you continue to be used by God to be an encouragement for those who are seeking it. Amen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Big Daddy P. Now, guys, I got to tell you this, and Night Owl, this is something that you've instilled in me for a long time. Big Daddy P, before we go any farther, would you be so kind and give us just a moment to say a few words and reflect, if you would be so kind?
I thought I just did, but
Well,
I can go
no,
deeper.
you know what I mean, my friend. It's time to give us that those special words that you give us.
He loves it.
Let me remind you of someone who taught us to do the following. Father God, we thank you so much for this time. We thank you for the opportunity that we have to come back to you with the words that you've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of years preparing, that we could receive it today. And I'm thankful that we can be a part of your plan. I thank you that you continue to bring us together on a weekly basis. I pray that you not only meet their financial needs and their physical needs, but those that happen to be suffering or hurting at the moment. I pray that you would not only answer their prayers, but that you would heal their body, heal their mind. Let them know that this is not a coincidence or an accident, but that you're always ready to hear from us. You tell us in the days of trouble to come to you. So I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that we can come before you this afternoon, and I thank you for the entire Wrestle Talk podcast and all the listeners and the 5,000 listeners from all over the world. It's just incredible to see what you're capable of doing in times such as these. And I thank you for my brothers and sisters who, as I said, week in and week out, come here to gather to talk about the goodness of professional wrestling, the thing that you created. And we want to pray, Father, for all the wrestling promotions that are attached to this podcast, that you would continue to heal the workers, those that cannot do what they love to do. We know that you've got a perfect plan for them. Even in the midst of suffering, we know that your love endures forever. So I thank you that you continue to heal their body. I thank you for, again, being a part of Wrestle Talk. It was so great to see Joe and so great to see Sonny and everybody cutting up and having a good time and laughing and celebrating. You tell us to rejoice because life is worth rejoicing, even in the midst of suffering. So I thank you, and I'm so proud to call you my God. I'm so thankful that I can serve someone who never lets me down, who is always there for me, night and day, 24 hours a day. You never sleep. And you always make things available when even human beings say it's not possible, because you are God and we are not. I thank you so much, and I love you. Pray for all those that are hurting right now, Father. I pray that your spirit would comfort them in ways that only they can describe. Thank you for answering my prayers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, and I ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Hey, were those the words you were talking about, or do you need more?
Sir.
Because I got all
100%.
day, brother. I can preach 2-3 hours. I can start teaching on the attributes of God. There's all kinds of stuff I can do.
Oh, well, you know something? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw things over to Renee, because Renee, you are, when it comes down to it, you and I have had many a great conversation, but when it comes to the conversation that you and I have both had, and all of us have had with Big Daddy P, I think you're the one that can really kind of put a great big bow on this discussion, and I'm just going to throw it over to you.
Well, thank you for doing that. And I want to say two things. Number one, we are going to give some shine to the FWWC. I have a guy who has given of himself so incredibly much since joining, still ascending within the group, coming up in just a couple of moments. So for my FWWC people, just know we got a champion on deck with something over his shoulder that he's been waiting to show off to everybody. I know the group has seen it, but the general public has not seen it. And we're going to hopefully unveil it here tonight. But before we get to this champion, I want to ask these two guys who have been my left and my right arm for a long time. We've received criticism. This is wrestling. Why do they pray? Even some of the guests have given us some backlash. Maybe they'll be in the waiting room and they'll hear it and they'll go, what the hell are y'all even doing? This doesn't make sense. This isn't a part of wrestling. And we beg to differ. But I want to ask first with Dewan, the founder of the FWWC, my business partner, and somebody I trust with my life, about Big Daddy P and what he's brought to the group, because you and him are partners. He comes in, you tag, then we go to FWWC, or you do FWWC, and then he tags you, and vice versa, right? So you guys have kind of been linked together. What does this snippet and these prayers mean to you when you tune into the Wrestle Talk podcast?
Man, like you said, love covers all, man. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know the entire good book, but I know the basis is LOVE, man. Love covers a multitude of sins. I know that's in there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, no matter how hard life may get, no matter how hard, you know, your personal life may get, when you come back to love for whatever, whether it's your family, whether it's your brothers, whether it's your sisters, even professional wrestling, man, that is the basis. That is the concrete foundation that keeps us all together. So it's all needed. It's all one deal, man. It's like an umbrella. So love covers us, man, and we're all in this, you know, bubble together.
That's a fact. This very tight bubble.
This very tight bubble
Right.
together, man. But it's family, man. That's what I've always appreciated about Big Daddy P, man. No matter how wild and crazy we get, you know, we're not perfect. We do make our mistakes, but God loves us all, man. He brings us all together how it's supposed to be.
So the Snippets of Truth gets the CEO seal of approval?
Of course, all day.
Let's go. Sonny Money. Same question to you, bro. What does that mean?
Every single successful podcast has something. Whether it's a hip-hop podcast that me and Renee listen to, or sports podcast that we all listen to, they have some type of game, some type of niche, something that stands them out from something else from other podcasts. To have Big Daddy P on the Wrestle Talk podcast weekly with the Snippets of Truth, that is what makes Wrestle Talk podcast. And these guys can agree to disagree. It might be FWWC. It might be
rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors. It might be shoot and shout. Whatever it is. To me, it's the Snippets of Truth. That's what Wrestle Talk podcast is, all right? Because I believe in God. I believe in heaven. I believe in hell. I believe in all of it. You know what I mean? And I can speak for these two gentlemen next to me, brothers of mine for over 20 years, that they believe in the same. So to have a wrestling podcast and to have that incorporated with it, I don't know of any other podcast that is doing that besides religion podcasts, but any other wrestling podcast or entertainment podcast, to have someone come on and give us and preach us the truth. So Big Daddy P, thank you. And the continues of thank yous go down the line from 500 on and from 500 back. Thank you so much for bringing that to Wrestle Talk podcast.
Hell yeah. Yo, just real quick, can we just have a golf clap for Big Daddy P for doing what he does? Can we? Yeah, man.
And,
Yeah,
if anybody ever wants to know why we do what we do, would you tell them this? Because God says so. And if you have a problem with it,
and that's the bottom line.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Thank
Just
you,
real
guys.
quick here, because I do want to get to Will. John, I think you were recently ordained or something, and you and I never had this conversation, so I guess I'm kind of asking you on the fly. Did seeing Big Daddy P and the Snippets of Truth, was that part of what made you want to join the team? Because I know your faith, and we're not shading on anybody's faith. We're just talking about ours. That's all it is. Right. Did that play a role in you wanting to be part of the fan, bro? I'm curious.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because in my opinion, nothing can be successful unless God ordains it to be. And so to have God in this just shows that he has ordained it to be successful. And that's part of what's gotten us to 500. And, you know, when people are willing to show their faith and step out like that, you know, like we do each and every week by having the Snippets of Truth and everything, it's really something that, you know, helps gravitate myself towards. So it really is. And, you know, I'm happy to be a part of it. And I am happy to have Big Daddy P here each and every week. And just thank you for being here, and just looking forwards to the future with it.
The future's bright. As dark as the future might look, we know the end of the story, right? So while we're waiting, he says, chill out, relax, sit back and watch me work. And to see everybody together once again, because I remember the day we prayed. I remember the day that we asked God to bring everybody back together, because in the end, when you have your thousandth episode, which if you think about it, look at how long it took you to get here and all the things that have happened in order to get here. He's just warming up. So buckle up, because week in and week out, as long as he sees it fit, he's going to have the Wrestle Talk podcast, because it honors him in a world that people don't care what God thinks. We do. And if you happen to be an atheist, that means you've at least given him a hearing and you've told him to go to hell. That's fine. That's your choice, because he doesn't send anybody to the lake of fire ever. People choose to reject the free gift that he has to offer. And it is free. It doesn't cost us a single thing. 2,000 years ago, when he died on the cross, were we here? No. So we had nothing to do with it. And the good news, and that's why it's called the good news, is that anybody who trusts in him has an opportunity. They just have to trust him. That's it. And once you trust him, show 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. There's no stopping it. So thank you again for the opportunity of being a part of this. I love you guys. And I'm so excited for you, because it's not easy doing 500 podcasts. I see you guys in your chat and all the information you have to balance and bank and hoping guests show up and all of the details that you don't see on the front end, guys. All the stuff on the back end and all the chaos. Let me tell you, there could have been so many opportunities for everybody to quit this and stop this, but you didn't. So keep going and don't stop for nothing. And I thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy P, a very integral part. I think this sums it up best from Susie Haas. Brings the real and the love to the WTP. And again, as we see right here, Perry, I hope that this summarizes and puts a great bow on everything that you do for us. And again, on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestle Talk podcast, thank you for what you've done for us to get us to this point and everything that you're going to do in the future. And I have to say, for all of us, thank you for, most importantly, being a friend to all of us here at the Wrestle Talk podcast.
It's been a lot of fun. It really has. It's been a blast, because there are some nights that I just don't want to do anything. There are times that even I lose hope in a lot of scenarios. And God always says, excuse me, there's a job that has to be done. and he gives me just enough energy to be able to do it. And every time I finish, I'm like a car that just got filled with the highest octane of gas. And it sets me off for the next project. So thank you so much again. I love you guys. And I can't wait to celebrate 501 next week.
Hey, last thing before we move on to our little FWWC segment. Rob, can you show those again? Because I don't know if Perry saw them earlier. The certificates of recognition that we got, if you got them there handy, just kind of.
Give you an idea. I'm just going to go this way. This is one, Perry, from the West Virginia Senate. We've got one here from, bear with me, my desk is a complete mess now, from the Illinois House of Representatives. We got a few more things coming up here on the Wrestle Talk podcast here tonight. And again, it's not just the professional wrestling world that's acknowledging what the Wrestle Talk podcast does. It's people outside of the professional wrestling world, into the world of the government, that are acknowledging what we do. And I'm going to tell you, Perry, it's been a wild ride, and you've been a very integral part of it.
It's great to see everybody again. Big Sexy, it's been a while, brother. Good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're staying well.
One day at a time. It's all
That's
I can
all
do.
you can do.
Haas, I'm telling you, I think you're half my age. So eventually, when Big Daddy P's done, there's not a doubt in my mind that God will continue to use you to be a part of this. So thank you again for what all of you do. Luke, you are solid, brother. That's why God put you in this position, because people can count on you. And I think no one expects you to be perfect either. And I mean, just by looking at your jacket alone.
Here we go.
Holy cow, man! Did Rip Taylor rob your closet? Now, not of you might not know who Rip Taylor is. Look him up on the internet. That is a Big Daddy P jacket right there. Most people don't know. I love it. So great choice of clothes today.
All right. Well, Big Daddy P, thank you for joining us here today. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now here, I got one thing I want to bring up here. And a matter of fact, we can go ahead. Haas or Renee, can you bring up AJ Wallace's last statement here? No, we're not going to talk about Susie's comment. Bring up AJ's comment here real quick. Bring up AJ's comment real quick, guys. AJ Wallace has been a longtime member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, and bringing it up here again, I gotta say, if AJ is giving us that endorsement about this great episode, this special episode, we're good to go. And now, gentlemen, I know we were going to go to the FWWC, but I do want to let you know that the special guest I've been working on is in the green room. We want to go ahead and honor their time. But you know something, guys? We have time for one more brief pop, and it's been a great show. Everything's been rocking and rolling. Thank you to everybody who's putting the messages out there. Hardcore Hoss, can you give us, we have time for one more guest before we go into our feature guest. Can you go ahead and bring them up here? I can't really see. My screen's kind of going all sorts of stuff here. Again, can you bring up our oh no.
Hey man, this is supposed to be a joyous occasion. It's episode 500. You understand 500? When this podcast started, it was strictly audio by telephone. Around episode 110, 120, 130, it was me in his dining room with me holding the cell phone steady for 2 hours.
That cardboard cutout of Phil. We had Phil in the background. You remember that?
Everything that we've had on this podcast, great independent professional wrestlers, former WWE, former TNA, former ECW, former WCW, world-known professional wrestlers.
And
champions and legends and everything we've had on this podcast. And I don't know who or where it got tied up. Maybe him. It could be him. But come on, man. Who brought you on?
You know, how much better could it get now that Snitch is here?
No, as it says right there, that's WTP's greatest guest. I mean,
you put that on there.
Champions,
you did
you've
that.
Had legends, you've had WWE superstars, you've had the who's who of professional wrestling, independent, non-independent, it doesn't matter. But now you have the actual who wrestling, and it's me, the Snitch, your greatest guest. And I just wanted to pop in here to say one quick thing. All right. I know that I am Lucas's favorite wrestler. I know that I am Christopher's favorite wrestler. Hardcore Hoss has been very vocal that I am his favorite wrestler. I know I'm Nightmare Jones's favorite wrestler. He says that pretty much every single day. Sonny Money, you love to hate, but you also just love to love me. And Night Owl, I know you love me too, boy.
Don't mind
me. I'm always. All right, so I just wanted to say this though, get a little serious for you guys. Now, I know that Snitch is your greatest guest, your favorite guest. There are a lot of wrestling podcasts, and there are a lot of wrestling video podcasts, but there are none that are greater than the Wrestle Talk podcast. And I just wanted to say congratulations on your 500th episode. And while your episodes with me are your greatest episodes, there are still a couple hundred others that don't include me that are also very great. And I just wanted to congratulate you guys that, I mean, probably couldn't have done it without me, but you have done it without me some of the time. And so while you're welcome, giving you that Snitch bump that I like to talk about, I just wanted to congratulate all of you guys. I want to say Night Owl, love you. Sonny Money, love you. Chris, I know you. Lucas, I know you too. Haas, I know you love me. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing, my man? Jeremy's a big Snitch fan, too.
Drew a dime. Not a dime.
Congratulations on the
Not a dime.
500th episode. I want to give you that one last Snitch bump for this episode as well. Keep it going, guys. I'll see you in episode 1000.
All right.
Who let
All
this
right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's going on.
Here. We were trying to get Carp in here, and then we were going to move on to FWWC, And you see this, you guys are
The fact the snitch got on
You're
before me.
disrespecting a champion. Dude, we got FWWC royalty coming on, and this.
Well, hey
Can I
guys.
see
I gotta tell you what. Right now, I'm gonna call a timeout here. I'm gonna call an audible, as the Night Owl likes to put. And gentlemen, can you hit the breaking news sounder, because our featured guest has arrived? Can you hit the breaking news sounder here, because this is very important to episode 500? So can you hit the breaking news sounder for me, gentlemen? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have kept this very much under wraps for a long time. And we're going to have here in just a second our special guest for episode 500. Now, before we begin, I believe we've had everybody that's a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast be acknowledged on the program today. But there's one that hasn't. And whether it's Hardcore Hoss or the Night Owl, can you please pop up the graphic about the man I'm talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, as we talked earlier on about Nightmare Jones being one of the founders of the Wrestle Talk podcast, the Wrestle Talk podcast doesn't come into existence without the hard work and dedication of the late Richard Rose. This man gave many an hour, effort, blood, sweat, and tears, not only to defend our country as a member of the United States military, but to give of his knowledge and his energy to the Wrestle Talk podcast. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Richard Rose ultimately lost his life. And we would be remiss, we would not be where we are today without the efforts of one Richard Rose. Now, in honor of Richard Rose, and gentlemen, if you can go ahead here for just a minute. At this point in time, it is my extreme honor to introduce today's special guest. This individual is a member of the Ohio House of Representatives. He represents the very place that our founder Richard Rose came from and lived through his life. A man who's known as an athlete by playing baseball at his alma mater of Bowling Green State University. A man who has studied at the University of Dayton in the School of Law. This man represents the voice of the state of Ohio. And I've got on good authority, is a wrestling fan. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed honor and privilege to welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast, as a part of episode 500, the most honorable Ohio State Representative, DJ Swearingen. Representative Swearingen, it is an honor and a privilege to have you here on the program this afternoon and being able to take part in the 500th episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And when we were starting to put this all together, we went from the very beginning. And again, I want to give a shout out to you for being able to join us here this afternoon. And I know for a fact that our founder, Richard Rose, would be very happy to have you here as well. I want to welcome you to the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Well, no, it's absolutely an honor and a privilege to be here, and thanks for the invite. And when you first reached out about Richard, absolutely to do this for his memory and consider mine, and like he was way too, but I wanted to pay tribute to him and honor his legacy, and something that he's left behind and kind of left his fingerprints on, and it's kind of a testament to him and his work effort, and all of you on this podcast as well. So,
well, I'm going to tell you right now, Representative, to have you here today is an honor and a privilege. I mean, we've had, as you've heard in the last few minutes, we've had guests from the local level. I mean, we've had lots of personalities from your state of Ohio. We've had them from across the country. We've had people from different countries, as a matter of fact, come on the program. And again, I have to say, I believe this is the first government official that we've had on the program. And to have you here today is a real honor. Now, I'm going to level with you. And I know that maybe maybe this might get him in a little bit of trouble, and I'm going to have to apologize, and I may have to make sure I send him something for this. But I had a conversation with a member of your staff, and I know that you've been an athlete. You're very well known in the state of Ohio, but I've heard that you are a fan of the sport that we all know and love, that being professional wrestling. And I have to ask you, professional wrestling fans are those, it's not just something you kind of drop into. It's something that it kind of evolves over time. Can you share with the viewers of our program what drew you to the sport of professional wrestling?
Well, I think, first, let me say I'm not nearly on the level with you guys. I give you all the credit for what you're doing, but it kind of goes back to growing up, right? Like I'm a kid from the 90s. So we were growing up, we're watching WCW, and then it eventually kind of turned to WWF. But I grew up in that era where WCW kind of broke onto the scene, and that's just kind of what we watched. I didn't have cable. So my buddy down the street, like he literally taped this, I think it was on VHS. So we would get, the rest of us would get it like a day later when he'd come down. We'd all watch it together, but just some friends in the neighborhood. And that's back when the NWO Black and White burst onto the scene, and then there was the Red and the Black. And I was just thinking back to when Sting made his decision in the ring, and he had the NWO Black and White shirt on. He rips it off. He's got the red and the black on, and he suplexes the Big Show. So it was just fun growing up. And then you all have the trampoline in the backyard, and you're trying to imitate the moves on each other, and your parents are freaking out, saying someone's going to break their neck. So it was just a good time growing up, and I really enjoyed it and had a lot of fun with it when I was a kid. So.
Something, I gotta throw this out here, Representative. When it comes down to it, and having the opportunity to hear, and again, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, they're just taking care of things to provide lip service or things like that." But when you can go into detail and talking about, and I can, again, being in wrestling as long as I have, being a fan as well, and I remember very well sitting on my couch with my friends from college, having some pizza. And for those in the St. Louis area, and you may be familiar with all your travels, a big thing here in the St. Louis area is Emo's Pizza. I don't know if you've ever had that opportunity or not.
I never have, but when I'm out, I'll look it up for sure.
Like I said, they always say, and again, hopefully it someday may get us a sponsorship, but the square beyond compare, as they say here in St. Louis. And I know the gentlemen from KC know what we're talking about here too. But being able to sit on the couch and remember those episodes and have those memories kind of flood back here. I mean, again, that shows that you are sincere, 100% sincere in what you talk about when it comes to professional wrestling. Now, as you see here, we got a lot of people here that want to kind of chime in. I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to our executive producer, longtime host of the program, the Night Owl, Renee Martinez. Renee, I'm going to turn things over to you.
Wow, DJ, thank you. If I can call you that, thank you for making the time to be here with us this afternoon.
Yeah, no, happy to do it, and happy to pay tribute to Richard for his efforts.
That's awesome. Well, definitely well deserved. Rick is the one that actually invited me to come on the show. He's like, man, you got good energy and you love wrestling and you're a hard worker. So let's do it. And ever since then, man, we've been on this tremendous ride. I guess the first thing I wanted to say is I appreciate the fact that you're a pro wrestling fan. I know you guys keep yourselves pretty busy. It's something I think is born within childhood. I haven't seen a lot of people become wrestling fans in adulthood. So it's kind of cool to carry that memory with you and then into the future to be able to be a part of something like this, I would assume. But mainly I was curious, like entrepreneurship, I'm sure is a big topic among your constituency.
Yep.
And I have the privilege of interviewing promoters of all levels, the highest level from the WWE to small organizations that are just filling up the Knights of Columbus or the bingo halls. I'm curious, are you an advocate for professional wrestling on an independent level as it currently exists? And in the potential of future, if you haven't attended an independent show, is that something that the constituency might be able to encourage you to do, to come out and be a part of the environment and the culture that is local independent wrestling?
That's a great question. And, you know, I got to be honest with you guys. I wish my fanhood has kept up as intense as it was when I was a kid. But there was actually, this is kind of a sad story. There was a local independent wrestling group that was just getting started back in 2019. And then they went into COVID and they got shut down during COVID. And, you know, we were trying as best we could to, to get as many businesses back up and running as we could, because literally the shutdowns were just starting to kill small business, especially. And unfortunately, this group never made it back full on. But I did get the opportunity and the privilege to go out to this, and this was just like a second hobby that these guys were doing, but it was really taken off. And, you know, they came from all walks of life, and they were small business owners themselves, but they literally bought the wrestling ring. Like, they started, you know, having the matches and getting different narratives run and different storylines and everything with the independent wrestlers. And, sadly, they never got back after COVID, and they had to sell the ring. But I did get the privilege to go out there and visit with them. And, I asked if I could get in the ring myself, and they said I could. And it was just, it was a blast.
Wow.
And one of the gentlemen, he had a history, one of the owners, he'd been involved in independent wrestling himself as a wrestler before he took on this venture. And he actually taught me how to take a bump in the ring.
Let's go. Yeah, boy.
It was pretty cool. So, like, you know, like I said at the beginning, my fanhood admittedly has not kept up as well as what
Appreciate your honesty about that. Thank you.
But I still have those core memories from growing up, you know, with Stone Cold and The Rock and, you know, WCW guys, you know, in the late 90s. But but getting to visit this individual in the ring and everything, and, you know, it was a wholesome, you know, there's no profanity, there's not as much as the showmanship, I guess. So it was more family oriented, and to see what they were starting to ramp up and create in a very wholesome and fun way. It was just so disappointing that COVID put an end to that. And it's kind of a sad story, but, you know, I had the privilege of seeing firsthand of, you know, kind of what this independent wrestling group was able to get off the ground in the short time that they had it. And it was pretty neat. So.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, we appreciate your support. We're just a small broadcast here that's grown into 5,000 strong. And we always appreciate when people respect our community, because a lot of people don't understand what we do. And I have a passion for it. And I've never stepped in the ring, competed once in my life. So that just goes to tell you how special it is. And I just two quick sidebar. Number one, I know you already got invited to St. Louis for some emos, and I know you're an Ohio guy, but I hope that we can bridge the gap, because there were some representatives of your state a little while ago, about a year and a half, that decided to say some mean things about my Kansas City Chiefs. And we know how. Listen, no shade. I'm just saying, maybe you and I, Mr. Swearinger, can help bridge the gap. So if you're ever in the Kansas City area, I would be the first to invite you down to Oklahoma, Okie Joe's, and we'll get a Z-Man, and then we'll go down and get some jalapeno cornbread at my favorite place, Woodyard, and we'll have a good old time. And we'll start bridging that gap between the Cincinnati and Ohio guys, because we had a Browns guy here with us now too, Mr. Carp. He's a Browns guy, so maybe we can begin to bridge the gap between Missouri, Kansas, and Ohio, because obviously there's been some tension. So
I think we can do that.
Yeah.
You guys are looking pretty darn good for the foreseeable future. I do just a quick story. It's Chiefs related. So one of my good buddies from college, he owns Garage Beer which is a beer company, and he
Kelsey, the Kelsey, Jason Kelsey's sponsoring them or a spokesman or something.
I think he sold. I don't know I don't know the legalities behind it, but I think he sold part of it to Travis and Jason. So they're involved in the business. I mean, obviously Jason more so than Travis at the moment.
So cool.
Yeah, small world, huh?
Yeah, I love that. See, we're bridging the gap. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Hey, but we got you guys this weekend, so best of luck to you, man.
Thank you. We're going to need it.
You guys got to get Chase signed. You got to get Chase signed. Hey, I'll let somebody else jump in. I don't want to be selfish, but DJ, thank you. Skywalker told me you were a humble guy. I was looking forward to get the opportunity to talk to you and obviously live up to the billing, man. Thank you.
Good to meet you.
All right, well, gentlemen, again, I know for a fact, too, you're talking about Cleveland, you're talking about the state of Ohio. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give a shout out here to our colleague, the maestro, Jeremy Karp, not only a loyal member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, but also a man behind Roundabout Sports, which you can catch on all the great social media outlets as well. Jeremy, I know that you're chomping at the bit about Cleveland, and you got a representative here from the state of Ohio. Are you going to go ahead and bring up something about your Browns?
So I'm just glad I'm able to say something. So first thing I have to say is, Mr. Swearingen, tell T. Higgins to stop straining his hamstring and play in the game for the sake of my fantasy team. Because I drafted him with the highest of hopes, and I've been getting disappointed left and right over here. That said,
wait! This dude's talking to a state rep, and the first thing he brings up is his fantasy team.
What
is wrong with you, Carp?
Hey, hold on.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on. Let me jump in here real quick, though. He is all of Ohio, so you don't know if that's Bengals. He might be a Browns fan. DJ, are you Bengals or Browns?
We're not going to be able to get him on the record.
Can't answer that question.
See, I told you.
Yeah, I knew it. See, I know what not people see. There's people that know what to ask. I know what not to ask. When you talk to a state representative that you just don't ask.
Yeah, exactly.
DJ, I will ask you this though. Which team do you feel is looking more dangerous this year, the Browns or the Bengals? They both are, of course, in the same division, and it is arguably the toughest division in football.
Yeah, I'll answer. I mean, if you look at it's just week one, right? Like, you never know what injuries are gonna crop up for certain people. Like, you don't know how it's gonna go. But I mean, the Browns have some quarterback issues right now. I mean, if we're being honest, and Deshaun Watson is signed to that big contract for a couple more years. So, I know my Browns friends are all looking at Baker right now, just playing all out in Tampa Bay.
And he's not making that much money.
There's seller's remorse there. And then you got Joe Burrow down in Cincinnati. I mean, one of the best QBs in the league, in my opinion. So the NFL, it's a lot of quarterback play, and I think it's still a lot of defense. Defense is understated, I think, in the NFL. So I think the Bengals have the edge right now, but that's why they play all the games, right, to see who's going to come out on top by the end, and we'll see what happens. So maybe Deshaun turns it around. I don't know.
He very well might. Now, I got to scale it down from the pro level to the collegiate level, because obviously it's game day, and if you can tell behind me, I mean, I got college galore.
He's got the red zone.
Mizzou, all right, Mizzou out in Como just won. I'm from the Lou here, and I'm proud. And the Cardinals are out winning, thank God. I gotta ask you this though. Now we all know when it comes to Ohio, the big team is the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yep.
And their biggest rival, Michigan, won the Natty last year under some interesting circumstances. Do you feel that the NCAA should handle some sanctions on both the Wolverines and Coach Harbaugh, who's now with the Chargers?
Yeah, so great question. Do you guys have sports gaming out there by chance, or no? Are you guys?
We do in Kansas.
Yeah. So we're Kansas City's. Yeah, on the Kansas City side, we're borderline with Kansas and Missouri. They're Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas side does have legal sports betting.
Missouri's is on the ballot for this.
Missouri's is on the
election.
ballot this year.
So, Maestro, you don't have any parlays on that game in the back, do you?
No, not on this one. My friend goes to Illinois.
He's looking for
I have a friend who goes to
info.
Illinois
Yeah,
and takes care of his stuff. So.
Exactly.
Carb wireless.
So let me do this here real quick, DJ, because you are representing, to me personally, honestly, Ohio. What a great state of Ohio. Let's put Ohio over. In wrestling terms, we're putting something over. We're giving it the shine here. Let's put Ohio over. The Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Cedar Point, the home of Ohio Valley Wrestling that brought up John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, some of the biggest stars in the wrestling business. All right. What is one of your favorite things about the whole state of Ohio? Because there's so many things there. Cleveland's right on the lake. My job is R&L Carriers. They're based out of Wilmington, Ohio, one of the biggest trucking companies in all of the United States. So seriously, give the shine to Ohio here. You're representing the whole state, not just the Bengals and all the sports stuff, but
absolutely. So I've got a couple questions to answer. I've got that one, and I've got the Harbaugh, Michigan question too. So I'll do that one first. The people in Ohio are amazing. I mean, and we've really got it's in my opinion, not enough people nationally pay attention to how great Ohio is, because you've got the lake up here, like you mentioned. Cedar Point is actually in my district. I live about 5 minutes away from Cedar Point, and it's one of the best amusement parks nationwide, hands down. But seriously, the people, like, you go to a Bengals game or a Browns game or a Buckeye game or whatever, Blue Jackets, and just some of the best people you can ever hope to meet. And the people have to be good here because for several months out of the year, the weather's horrible. So you're going to be inside. You're going to be talking to other people. You know, you're going to be having a beverage with them. So they better be good. I think the people are great. We got Ohio State. We've got Lake Erie. We've got the Browns, the Bengals, all the sporting teams. But, you know, we've got some great state parks. Those are awesome as well. The city of Columbus is really an up-and-coming city. It seems like it's been growing nonstop for the last 15, 20 years. So, it's a great state. There's a lot to do. Really love it. And then back to Harbaugh in Michigan. I'm not letting them off the hook on the podcast. I go back to Jim Tressel and the gold pants, right? Terrell Pryor. I don't know if you guys remember that at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ohio.
Maurice Claret, baby.
The Raiders.
Shout out to Maurice Claret back there, bro.
Yeah. One of the great. I mean, that was, I got to watch Maurice Claret and company beat Michigan in the Horseshoe. I think that was back in the 01-02, the year when Ohio State won the national championship and beat like one of the most talented Miami Hurricanes teams ever. How many NFL players they had on that squad. But like, I'm thinking back to Jim Tressel and the Buckeyes in the gold pants, memorabilia for tattoos. And Ohio State got suspended for a year from bowl game. I mean, it was big, and it really cost Jim Tressel his job at Ohio State. He was a great coach, and Jim Tressel's a really great man. I mean, and he's gone on to actually be the president of Youngstown State and do a lot of good things for the state as a whole outside of football. But, that was kind of a career ender for him. And, you look at this situation with Michigan, it's like that stuff actually impacted the games. And, I think you got to look at how the discipline has been laid down in the past. And when you look at this situation, so I'm not the NCAA, I don't know what they do, but I know as a Buckeye fan growing up, that was a heartbreaker to watch Coach Tressel kind of get run out of Ohio State because of that whole situation. I understand it wasn't great. It was a rules violation, right? That, there's no getting around that. But here it's like, well, there better be some discipline involved, because I know I watched all that go down, and it wasn't fun for the Buckeyes. So,
yep.
I have to ask you this because we're talking about putting Ohio over. Every state has their, and you being a representative, I got to ask this. So, state of Ohio, according to a U.S. News rankings, has the citizens opportunity, like the opportunity for growth, they are in the top 20 as far, which is fantastic. As far as healthcare, economy, they're in the 30s. What are ways that you and the rest of the representatives and the congressional in Ohio working to do to improve that for the citizens in your state?
That's a great question. I think, from my perspective, and I'll try not to make it too partisan, but just something that most people can agree with, but help individuals achieve their potential, like give them the opportunities to succeed and kind of get out of the way and let them do that, if that makes sense. So, we're a lot of from a young age, making sure kids have educational opportunities in the towns they're growing up in, that they're able to do that kids have knowledge about careers that are available right out of high school, and that they're trained for those jobs right out of high school. I think there was, in my generation at least, there was a lot of emphasis on you're just going to go right to college and get that certificate and the money's going to be there for you. Well, that wasn't always the case, unfortunately. I mean, actually, a lot of people racked up a lot of debt, and those jobs weren't waiting for them on the back end. Especially if you graduated when I did around 08, 09, 2010, those were some tough times. So, making sure kids in high school are aware, look, you can go be a welder, you can go join the IBEW, you can do a bunch of different things, and you're going to have in fact, those jobs are very much in demand. You're going to have a good paying job. You don't have to take on 6 figures of debt to do that. For those kids that do want to go to college, obviously, that have to go do that to get the skills they need and the credential they need to move on, we want to make sure they have those opportunities. I think too, for small businesses, it's vitally important. Those are our Main Street businesses. We talked about one of them earlier, setting them up to be successful as well with a very favorable tax structure, keeping taxes low, making sure that we're getting red tape out of the way for those guys that, they're the little guy. They need the opportunity to succeed. A lot of those bigger guys, they can afford to pay for the regulations and they can afford to compete in that environment, but making it easy for the little guy to get started up and off the ground and creating a state where that can happen is pivotal. I do like this. I think we've seen this over the last couple of years, and it was really a highlight of COVID, reshoring jobs back home to America. Maybe outsourcing our manufacturing wasn't the best idea in the world in the 90s. And, that can create some big opportunities for people to have good paying jobs. And we're seeing a lot of that in Ohio. We've had some plant expansions. Intel has decided to try to get their chip manufacturing off the ground here in Ohio. So, get reshoring those jobs, because there's a lot of Americans that are raising their hands saying, I'll do those jobs. And, I think that's a great thing too. So a lot of different areas we can hit on. For me, though, it comes down to making sure that the individual has what they need to succeed and kind of watching them go do it. So,
all right.
So we just wanted to jump in and say, me and Sonny were discussing this while we were listening to that. And we wanted to bring the flag back out, and we're both moving to Ohio immediately.
I'm getting
that's what I'm saying. Ohio sounds freaking amazing.
I'm getting a passport to see
year round.
I'm gonna go sing Zeppelin at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's right.
I'm gonna go laugh at all the Browns.
I'm gonna go see Macho Man's old house.
Yo, Macho Man's from Ohio.
Duh. Hello.
Come on, man.
That's what we've been saying. Y'all are not listening to us. Come on. Right. We got you,
wonderful.
Bro. We got you.
Seriously.
OHIO.
Yeah, well, gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and step in here. First of all, Representative Swearingen, on behalf of the Russell Talk podcast, we want to say thank you for joining us here this afternoon. I mean, again, you bring back so many things. I mean, I got family friends that used to live in the Ashland area, spent plenty of time in Columbus, been to the Hall of Fame, been to countless places in the state of Ohio. And again, just saying, being a Michigan State fan, I mean, again, that's not one of the most popular when it comes to talking about Ohio sports as well. But first of all, I want to say thank you for coming on the program, because again, this has been nothing short of an honor for us. And I know that we're going to kind of wrap this up with going back, talking about Rick Rose and talking about how, like I said, his contribution. Without him, this doesn't exist. And I just want to kind of give you, like Rick would, I want to kind of give you the floor to to have your final say, have opportunity to kind of just going to wrap things up because I know we talked about a lot of things here today, and I just want to kind of give you the floor.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And, tribute to Rick, like I said, that's why I'm here. And I really appreciate you guys reaching out and making this possible, because there are, despite maybe some of the narrative that's out there, there's a lot of, I think, government officials who love this kind of stuff, who love to, go on a podcast and talk about Ohio State brownies and the best. But, I think this has been a great example of how, no matter what where you're at from a partisan perspective, there's a lot that unites us Americans. We're all on the same team, and hopefully, we can do what's right for everybody, and all come together, focus on the things that unite us and not necessarily divide us. So we'll end with that. How's that sound?
Let's go, baby.
That sounds awesome.
Can we get a cheers for the representative one time? Can we get a little cheers for the rep? What's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Cheers.
Gentlemen. No one's driving after this.
Coffee over here. Coffee over
Well,
here.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to say again, it's been an honor and a privilege, and Senator Swearingen, on behalf of the Wrestle Talk podcast, and this is something in all my years of being involved in pro wrestling, being involved in the Wrestle Talk podcast, I've got to say that it's our honor and privilege. And Renee, I think it's time to get a little bit of that award-winning a standing ovation here, as we can officially say that we can now welcome the one, the only, the representative from the great state of Ohio, DJ Swearingen. We can officially say you are now a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. Can we get an ovation for the representative? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, episode 500 keeps on rolling along. Representative, thank you for joining us here on the program. We've got everything taken care of. With that, again, guys, I told you, the Wrestle Talk podcast, episode 500, all over the place. And guys, now that we have the Maestro on, I'm going to kind of throw something out here. And Maestro, you don't know this, but we talked earlier on about how the Representative Katie Stewart recognized Wrestle Talk podcast. We talked about how Senator Patricia Rucker represented the Wrestle Talk podcast. And right here in my hands, I'm not going to be able to show it because of some issues that happened with the wonderful world of the U.S. Postal Service and some damage that took place to this. But I've got right here in my hand something that I'd like to read. First of all, it's from the Missouri House of Representatives, and it's a resolution. Whereas the members of the Missouri House of Representatives hold in high esteem those broadcast media companies who have proven down through the years to be exemplary components of local communities and neighborhoods throughout the excellence of their endeavors. And whereas the Wrestle Talk podcast will commemorate its 10th anniversary along with its 500th episode in a special celebration to be held September 14th, 15th in the St. Louis, Missouri area. And whereas the Wrestle Talk podcast was created by Joe Lance of Renton, West Virginia, and the late Richard Rose of Port Clinton, Ohio, both of who wanted to discuss professional wrestling on the local, national, and international levels with fans across the world on a weekly basis. Whereas the staff for the Wrestle Talk podcast has grown from its 2 original founders to a staff of 12 team members from across 7 states across the country, and has conducted candidate interviews with professional wrestling personalities from all 50 states and 5 countries, has interviewed members from the Midwest Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in Wichita Falls, Texas, the Tragos Thez Hall of Fame in Waterloo, Iowa, and the Cauliflower Alley Club. Whereas the Wrestle Talk podcast makes it a point to showcase a variety of different businesses that are related to professional wrestling, and has conducted interviews with hosts of other podcasts, websites, training schools, restaurant owners, radio, television personalities, radio hosts, magazine writers, musicians, charities, comedians, and authors, directors of professional wrestling books and documentaries. And whereas the Wrestle Talk podcast has enjoyed recognition for being affiliated with, and again, it gives a long list. I'm not going to take any more time on that. Now, therefore, be resolved that we, the members of the Missouri House of Representatives 102nd General Assembly, Join to applaud the history, goals, and accomplishments associated with the Wrestle Talk podcast and to convey to all of those involved this legislative body's most heartfelt best wishes as they hold their 500th episode on September 17th, actually September 14th, and observe their 10th anniversary on October 22nd of 2024, and be it further resolved that the chief clerk of the Missouri House of Representatives be instructed to prepare a properly inscribed copy of this resolution for the Wrestle Talk podcast. It is signed by the Speaker of the House for the state of Illinois, and this actually comes from Representative Adam Swadron from District 105, which actually is the constituency of one the Maestro Jeremy Karp. So, ladies and gentlemen, yet again, the Wrestle Talk podcast and episode 500 making statements all across this great country. And guys, that's there. We've had the representative, DJ Swearingen. You know, we've got a lot of people waiting back in the wings, and I know we got to talk FWWC and Night Owl, Hardcore Hoss, whoever wants to do this introduction. Again, things have just kind of been rolling here. We've had special guests pretty much all day long. Gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and throw things over to you for the introduction of our next guest.
And you know what? Normally I would take it because it takes it, but it takes a champion to know a champion. So Hoss, if you would mind, I'll give you center stage because you're much more deep in the weeds of the FWWC right now than I am. And I'll be the first to admit it. You've worked your ass off for a long time. You're absolutely killing it with the Fed and being the hardcore champ, longest reigning, as a matter of fact. Let's get that straight. But I'll have you do the intro for this champion that's been waiting. We haven't unveiled yet exactly who it is because we wanted it to feel special. So, Hoss, you know what to do, baby.
Do we really have to bring this guy on?
You got to do it, man. It takes a champ to know a champ.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to episode 500 of the Wrestle Talk podcast, the FWWC World Champion, or Spartan's Heart Champion, sorry, wrong title. Spartan's Heart Champion, Ace.
All right, just for the record, champions that show up with their belts on this show will get intro music because they deserve it. Hoss, that was a terrible job. You should have done a much better job. I bet you if it was your old boy El Mata, you'd be doing backflips. But no, because it's Ace, the man that runs the place, you can't give this man a proper introduction. You see that belt over his shoulder? You know who made it? That shit ain't made in China, homie. That's made right here in the USA, in the backwoods of Georgia, baby. The home of the dogs and all these things. You hear me? Will,
number one team, baby.
Look at that. Willie, thank you for your patience. Let me be clear and make sure I'm on the record. This man has been waiting for the entirety of the show to come on. So we're going to get this man his flowers. I'm going to ask everybody whether you know who he is or not. Please give this man a round of applause. He is our Spartan's Heart champion. Come on now, Hoss. Come on now. Got to give it up.
Come on, Hoss. Don't be that bitter.
Yo, what a baby. What a baby. Like I said, if it was one of his homies, he'd be loving it. All right, well, listen. We had y'all nice for a little while, but I'm gonna steer the ship here for just a couple of minutes. Is that okay?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, all right, listen. Brother, I asked you to be here. You did not force your way on, bully your way on, like many other people of the FWCDC. We work real hard here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I know it drives us all crazy when other folks just show up and take over, right? But this occasion was special, and I felt like I needed to reach out and say, you know what? If there's somebody that needs to be acknowledged from the FWWC, it's Ace. Because since you arrived here, bro, since you got to the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, you have been nothing short of a good fella, a stand-up guy, a gentleman, and a hardworking guy that does not complain. So all the in-ring accolades aside, let me be the first to thank you, bro, for coming in and adopting the FWWC, also supporting the Wrestle Talk podcast the way that you do. But in particular, what you've done in the FWWC, from showing up to your matches, calling matches, keeping score, making multiple championships for the group, including the one that's over your shoulder right now, bro. Before I keep going on with the superlatives, why don't you jump in here, man, and tell us why you do it, bro? Why does the FWWC mean enough to you for you to give of yourself? Because that thing right there, man, you made that thing with your own 2 hands. Am I right?
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's fun, man. It's all about the brothership, the fun. And I know a lot of people, they use the cliche, it's about the fans, it's this. No, it's not. Let's be selfish here for a minute. It's about how it makes you feel. You feel good doing it. I mean, yeah, it's great, having people cheer and stuff like that. But I mean, let's be honest. It's about winning. It's about the brothership. It's about the fun. It's about being the best at something. So, I'm from the best state, #1 Bulldogs. I mean, woo woo. Okay. On top of that, I mean, you see it. I'm a champ, and even my name makes Joe Hoss over there stutter. So, I mean, that's what it's about. It's about putting that fear in people like Hoss. So that's what it's about.
Putting fear into a man that took the title from you.
You're stuttering again. Come on now. Get it together.
You're just lucky that, we're not allowed to hold 2 titles anymore. Otherwise,
yeah, I'd hold 2
I
of
have
them.
to take that one from you, too.
Ooh!
Just like I did the last one.
You hear this? These boys is brave.
As always, it's a pleasure, though, man. Hey, and congrats, man, on 500. I know I'm still new to the whole, Wrestle Talk podcast. I'm new, really, to the FWC. I've only been here, 3 years. I mean, it's fun, man. And a few times I've been able to come on and host it a few times and just be a guest. I've loved every bit. So congrats on 500. So.
Well, thank you.
Guys,
and I also want to apologize quickly. We were supposed to have you on, and guess what? I agree with Aaron Wallace for once. For once, the snitch jumped in and took our segment, and guess what? Hoss was excited about it. He was happy. He was on Twitter. He was tweeting about how the snitch came on and interrupted you, bro. That's how deep it goes.
He not only took the segment, he took the segment of the Spartans Heart Champion.
Hello.
On episode 500, not episode 501, not episode 499, on episode 500.
Unbelievable.
We're supposed to highlight one of the most important segments in Wrestle Talk podcast, that being the FWWC, episode 500, the Spartans Heart Champion, and that bum comes on, bro. Listen, you, my friend, are a better champion in one day on your worst day than the snitch ever was.
That's a fact.
On
Rodell, you got to
steroids,
speak
all
on
right?
this.
Come on, Sonny. Are
If
you
anybody
drunk
knows,
again?
it's Rodell.
That's what the snitch does. He makes it all about him. He thinks he's the most important thing in the world.
Didn't he shoot a fireball at you or something, bro?
No, not yet. I'm sure he wants to. He wanted.
It feels like we're getting there.
You probably blocked it with Quick Trip Pizza. So.
Like a shield.
Yeah.
Like a pizza shield.
You guys must be on some good drugs or something. I don't know.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking
I
about. Listen,
tell you,
we're here
That's Hoss's problem, though. That's Hoss's problem. Ever since I've been here, it's been a jealousy thing. And it doesn't matter how many times we go back and forth and beat each other. He can't stand the fact that not only am I the fastest rising star in FWWC's history, I'm like the biggest star. Win or lose, I'm the biggest star there. They're not like clamoring up to face Hoss. Everybody, and it's to toot my own horn here, lines up to have a program with Ace. Not
That's
Hoss.
because they know they can beat you. They can't beat you. So what?
No. See, this is the thing. Out of 3 seasons, and I've had 9 one-on-one actual matches where I've lost. Out of 3 seasons, 9 out of the thousands that I've won. Come on, Hoss, you can't even touch that record.
And how many of them have been against me?
Yeah, how many have I beat you, though? Come on now. We go back and forth. We do this all the time. And we're not going to have a Cena Triple H segment where we say we beat each other off. That's a little, weird, but...
Oh, my gosh.
Okay,
guys,
You
if
would
I
have
can,
never
pause, mega pause.
Time out.
Got it.
Hey, I told y'all I had a twin brother that used to tag team with me all the time, right? Now, this guy here, this is my real life twin brother, real life tag team partner back in the GPWA. Now, this guy here, man, we've been through it. This is my real my twin brother.
Hey,
this guy
man,
right
it's
here,
an honor to
the one that
know
got
you.
into it with me.
I can't believe there's anybody as ugly as you.
We want to say to him, it's an honor to know you. And if you're a friend and a family member of Willie, then you're a friend and family member of ours, bro. Pleasure, bro.
Hey, no doubt. Hey, man, I'm a huge fan, and congrats on 500, man. That's
Let's
awesome.
go. We got Georgia behind us.
Yep.
Georgia.
Georgia. Listen, I'm a fan, bro. I'm a fan.
Hey, man, and we of you, my friend. We of you. Hoss, any final thoughts here? We want to get back to having a civilized conversation. Can we get the shade out of the way? Because I do have a legitimate FWWC question here from my guy, the champ.
You know, I don't have anything to say to him. It's just, you know, it is what it is. And he's just jealous because I helped him win that hardcore championship and then took it from him. So that, you know.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
You know, you're stuck in the past, man. But look, this right here, this is the future. And that Warriors Heart Championship, that's the future. While you're still stuck holding that title, not moving up the ranks, it's all me, baby.
Well, you better hold on to that one because you got, what, 3 you can't go for? You know.
Yeah, I know it. I know. But see, that's the thing, though. I put them stipulations on the line because with or without a title, I'm still the biggest star. Can you say that?
He's pretty big, bro. Yeah, he's big. He's pretty big. He's a big boy. Trust me, boy. He might throw old Ace around. Big guy's been in the ring a few times. I think I've seen it once or twice. Well, listen, here are the final couple of questions that I have for you, Ace. Aside from just kind of loving the brotherhood and all that, talk to me about the competition in the FWWC. I've heard guys say it went from like watching football on Sunday to playing fantasy. It made every match matter. Talk to us about kind of like not necessarily the scoring system, but the adrenaline rush that you get by competing under the FWWC format.
Oh man, I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, I've actually been legitimately in the ring as a wrestler, indie scene, stuff like that, and even growing up in the whole backyard scene, and being with guys that are all over the country, and some of them all over the world. You get a chance to get in there, you role play, you get to have the kind of matches that you only dream of having in front of like 5 or 6 people in front of a little football field somewhere, you know, or a little park or at a carnival, you know, and nothing wrong with that. That's where everybody gets their start. That's great, but it gives you a chance to really tap into that inner character, the star that you want to be, you know, to have that kind of match, to have the kind of camaraderie that you actually want to have from the start. And, you know, I know a lot of people look down on it and they're like, oh, that's kind of nerdy. It's whatever. Man, I don't really care. I love it. And if this is nerdy, I'm one of the biggest ones because I love wrestling. It gives me a chance to tap into just the history of wrestling. Because, I mean, we can go all the way back, even with our role plays, even with some of our programs and just, you know, build off of matches that we grew up watching, stars that we grew up watching. And, I mean, there's nothing like it, man. And it's hard to really put in words.
I've never heard someone explain it so perfectly.
Yeah,
and that's not blowing smoke up your ass or
Nailed
anything
it.
like that. That's a shoot. This is really not even anything with the FWWC, but just pro wrestling in general. I think the general public, the people who don't watch pro wrestling, use those words: nerdy, the F word, fake. Sorry for anybody I offended there, but that's just in general, and that's the beautiful thing about pro wrestling. Because even without the FWWC, how many people around this world do something what FWWC is doing in their own home by themselves, cutting promos in front of a mirror? You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Having a wrestling character. Everyday life for me, I do the Scott Hall walk. Anytime I get a toothpick from the restaurant, one of my kids is getting it. You know what I mean? and yeah, but so for you to come on and representing like you're doing on episode 500 as a Spartans world champion, putting my man Hoss down, because besides your guys' personal beef there is between y'all, you and I never actually had the privilege to meet. I'm Sonny Money Mayo. Nice to meet you.
He's a fan of all y'all. He watches.
I love it. Hey man, at one time I was a part of the FWWC.
I remember, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I broke my toe and I started growing the tail. I think I had a bad.
That was a quad.
No, it was something. I don't remember. But to see FWWC still going strong at episode 500 with champions like this and coming on and representing as hard as
and let me say it again. This man made that championship out of the goodness of his heart with his own bare hands.
Right.
Man, like I said, I pulled the U.S. flag out a bunch today, but I feel like doing it again because it's made in America in good old Georgia. So, Ace, man, thank you, brother. Thank you for being so dedicated. Thank you for seeing the vision and embracing Dewan and myself's dream. You've contributed in ways, bro, that I can't even begin to express. I mean, beyond making the belts, bro, you've mentored people. You've been a coach. You filled it in so many ways, bro. So we usually save all these flowers for Hoss because he does so much around here, despite you guys hating each other. And you would be surprised to hear me say this. You guys have so much alike. I think that's why they hate each other, Sonny.
Yeah, it could
They're
be,
so
bro.
similar.
You know what I mean?
They're both so hardworking and
Right.
successful that they kind of just they don't magnetize like
Yeah,
that.
you know,
what I'm saying?
hey, it just happens.
It
You
is
know
what
I
it
mean?
is. That's the story of wrestling. But before we let you go, bro, you got any final thoughts? Anything you want to put over? Anything you want to promote? Upcoming shows, matches, any stories you got going? Because you were super duper generous with your time.
Huge. I mean, being as we're celebrating right this minute, let's celebrate the House of Horrors. They're actually now the longest reigning tag team champions, and to celebrate that, they have nice, brand new, shiny, once again, like you said, custom made right here in Georgia. Real FWWC tag team titles coming to them this week. So hopefully by Friday or Saturday, it'll arrive there. I don't know how long it really takes to ship there, but yeah, as soon as they get there, they'll actually start showing off their new titles.
Yep, and those belts are going from Georgia all the way to California, my friends. So obviously the FWWC is national, and in some cases international.
You know, it's international.
Yeah,
at this
baby,
point, bro.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, we're worldwide known, not
Let's
U.S.
go.
known, worldwide known. all right?
Worldwide chapter. That's
So,
what they
yeah,
say,
yeah,
boy.
yeah,
I feel like I'm from Georgia. Should we sing it again? Georgia. Do my Ray Charles.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Hey, thank you very
Yes,
much
sir.
for being here, bro. Thank you for supporting us, bro. God bless you, man. Be safe.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. Now, take care.
Adios. One more time, y'all. I'm gonna ask y'all to make some noise for him too. The Spartan Heart champion in the FWWC, my guy Ace, baby. That's crackling.
That's it, bro.
That's crackling.
That was great. Spectacular. Again, if you want to FWWC.
All right, well, gentlemen, I gotta cut in here again. Wrestle Talk 500's been all over the place. Hardcore Hoss, from one extreme to another, can you hit the breaking news sounder again? I got more breaking news here on episode 500. Can you hit the sounder again? All right, ladies and gentlemen, the breaking news keeps rolling here on episode number 500. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to kind of change roles here, going from the program director of the Wrestle Talk podcast to a member, as the Night Owl talked earlier, a member of the board of directors of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed honor and privilege to give you the first look at the brand new St. Louis Hall of Fame class of 2025 induction video. And a matter of fact, it's going to have some information at the end regarding the ceremony. So at this time, if you would be so kind to hit that video from the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. All right, you saw it there, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be posting that here, not only on the Wrestle Talk podcast social media, but that will also be posted soon on the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame social media as well. Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. And look who finally shows up! The one, the only, Gabriel Arsene, Nice to see you, Showdown, my friend.
We
Time to
weren't going
wrap
to
it
get to
up.
the end of the show without me at least making an appearance. I do want to take the opportunity to show everybody I forgot the show was in the morning. I thought it was at nighttime. I am currently working at my Sam's Club, but don't ever let that stop anybody from telling me what I can and can't do, because I was not going to miss this event, or Renee would never let me live it down. So, gentlemen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, we now have had everybody here. Much props to Gabriel Arsene for joining us. Now, guys, I know the bulk of us are here now, and again, we got a lot of people going to be a lot of places tonight. I want to go ahead and take just a minute here and allow everybody that's here as a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast on the production side, as a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, to take just a minute to kind of give their thoughts about episode 500, give their shout outs, give others their flowers, and then talk about where they're going to be in the future. Gabriel Arsene, we're going to go ahead and throw things to you.
Well, to start, I just want to thank everybody on the podcast itself. I can't even imagine, I still think about the fact that I'm not too far removed from the last time I was on the podcast for my first appearance. And now it just feels like I've been doing this nonstop. And I want to thank you guys for the platform to be able to do the things that I've done for pro wrestling. It's really kind of filled my love. Like, I already love this business as is, but I have new levels to it now, thanks to the Wrestle Talk podcast. I want to shout out, all of my friends and family that have made it, brought me all this way. My fiance, Alyssa, thank you so much for standing by me through everything, thick and thin. I love you to death. I want to thank my family. My mother, she brought me into this world, but also she's the reason I'm the way I am today. I just want to thank everybody in the FWWC if I'm able. Special shout out to Moby, local here in Florida. Our feud for Summerstone would nowhere near be as cool as it was if it wasn't for the opportunity to work with somebody like him. Just from the bottom of my heart, everybody, thank you. And going forward into the future, I want to know that when I am on those stage in pro wrestling, when I'm in your town, inside the squared circle, that everybody on the outside can be able to look out and be like, hey, we got him to this point, and I do it for every single one of you, and I'd be happy to do it again in a heartbeat. So thank you, and I love you all.
All right, Arsene.
Hey, you're welcome.
We're going to go ahead and throw.
By the way, just let it, just so you can hear me, bro. Hang out as long as you can, but if you got to go, we understand.
All right, we're going to move on here to my broadcast colleague, the one, the only, big sexy Chris Rodell. We'll get to your final thoughts, and if anybody wants to see you this weekend, where can they find you?
Well, episode 5, not a lot of podcasts get to episode 500, especially not a lot of wrestling podcasts, especially not a lot that cover the independent scene. It's been a great time ever since our first call-in interview, and helping out in the background during some days when things were tight. And even though I'm not a full-time member right now, I still think of all of you as brothers and friends, and I've made some great friendships along the way. And I can't wait for like Perry said, maybe we'll get to 750 and then shoot for 1,000. And tonight I'll be at CHWA's John Holt Yo 2 or 10 night 2, and I'll be right next to Luke. So, and I think next week Dynamo Pro is going to be at Arnold Days in Arnold, Missouri. So be looking for information on that.
All righty, let's go ahead and throw it down.
I want to say something just very quickly about Chris. Chris, there was a period of time, bro, where you basically were the backbone of this show. And I said it to you personally, but I'll say here in front of everybody, during that stretch of time, the person that you were filling in for the most was me. So I know you're not regular right now for whatever reason, but thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for the sacrifice. Obviously my expectations are high. They put a lot of stress on my relationships in certain moments. But the good that's been done isn't forgotten. So thank you for those sacrifices and for being not only a great partner, but also a great friend. So
and also I was living vicariously through you during your pictures that you were posting of your vacation.
We ain't done yet, bro. I got some more shit dropping. Make sure y'all check me out at Night Owl MX. Yo, check me out. I got more coming, bro. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All righty. Now let's go ahead and move on to the Maestro, Jeremy Karp. I know he's got a pretty busy schedule going on here tonight as well. Maestro, going to go ahead and throw things over to you.
On you, but Birdie. There you go.
Okay. I didn't mute myself. I'm just saying no.
Happens to all of us. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, yes, I got From Dusk Till Dawn 2 down at Pop's Nightclub in Sauget, Illinois, where I'll be getting to call a dream match. Heath Slater will be taking on Camaro Jackson. So I am really looking forward to that. Grand Ole Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Epic combining for one big show. I want to say for the Wrestle Talk podcast, holy shit, we got to 500 episodes. And it's not that it's an impossible feat. It's not that I'm saying we couldn't do it. It's just, it's amazing that it's finally here. And a couple memories. I could go on forever about memories of the show. One stands out, was one of the earliest ones I had. I will say, I mean, I went from just being a call-in guest. I remember Jacques Rougeau Jr. was on this show. The Mountie, I called in as a guest, got to speak with him. And then I remember when I was living at the old house, you know, I was literally just using my cell phone. We remember, I know Night Owl remembers that. We were just using cell phones to host the show.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, all those old shows are still on Blog Talk for people that are wondering. So it's still there.
Can't really say anything about being on phones either, considering where I'm at right now. So
right. So I remember that. And then of course, I'll never forget the one where we did the Wrestle Madness, where it was the greatest light heavyweight or greatest cruiserweight. And I got pissed because y'all advanced Gilbert over Owen Hart. And
that damn golden ticket.
With the damn golden ticket. None of us used it. Oh, God.
Not me. He's not here. He's not here. Well, it's just
I
a ring.
swear
He's
on
not
everything
here
if
today.
I love. And yes, folks, that is what happened. I was like, okay, they hit the music. What's the big deal? Yeah. Meanwhile, the Night Owl got a hold of Gilbert, Dwayne Gill, and brought him on the show. And unbelievable shock value at its finest. Never been so stunned. So, yes. But to be a part of something so special, you know, it's helped me get through a lot of lows in my life. And I couldn't be thankful to be a part of such an amazing group of guys. And I think if we can get to 500, I don't see why we can't get to 1,000. So, you know, just God bless all of us. And I'm just grateful to be a part of this.
You know something? I'm going to throw this out here, Night Owl, again. The Maestro is another one of those that has very much stepped in a lot of different roles, whether it's been a host, behind the scenes, on the boards, our great partnership with Interstate 70 Sports Media, and being able to get the Wrestle Talk podcast to expand. But most notably, and again, I'm going to throw this out here, is seeing your progression not only from just being a correspondent of the pro wrestling scene to becoming one of the most respected members of the pro wrestling community in the St. Louis area, from behind the announce table, and being able to say that I had a hand in guiding your career to where you are now and the events that you're going to be taking place tonight. Again, very proud of what you've done. And again, we're looking forward. We're talking off air about how recently Roundabout Sports hit 100. I'm going to tell you right now, with the effort and the attitude that Jeremy Karp has, we could very soon down the road be seeing the same kind of an episode for Roundabout Sports as well. And again, shout out to all the great people that are behind Interstate 70 Sports Media, without who, I mean, again, another reason why the Wrestle Talk podcast is where it is today.
Before we hand it off to whoever you have next, Luke, I want to say you said you had a hand in this. You were a huge chunk of the reason that I was able to break into the business. I mean, you know, I grew up, I loved wrestling. I still love wrestling, always will. But you are such a big reason for the successes and for the avenues I've had. And I'm eternally grateful. And I'm looking forward to next year getting to see you finally get your proper recognition.
Thank you very much, Maestro. Thank you very much. Now let's go ahead and go on to tell you what, let's go to Sonny Money Mayo.
Ooh, you ready? Sony.
I believe wholeheartedly that Wrestle Talk podcast has done nothing but positively affect everybody's life that is a host of the show, that was a guest of the show, and that is a fan of the show. Honest to God. Oh, it affect your life, obviously, Night Owl.
So much, bro.
I knew this guy.
So many friendships.
I knew this guy when the only thing he knew about professional wrestling was Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I took him to his first.
That might be a little bit of an exaggeration.
Okay, I'm sorry, but basic, very basic compared to where we're at with Wrestle Talk podcast.
Oh yeah,
today,
it's definitely levels. It's levels.
They're very basic, but to take you to the first independent pro wrestling show to where we are at now, bigger scope, bigger picture, 500 episodes. That's bro. Insane, bro. You know what I mean? And it's done nothing but for our friendship, build it even stronger. We were already great friends. You know what I mean? We were there for the birth of kids and
it's like been like a pro wrestling adventure.
It's been
from the podcast to tailgating outside of Metro Pro to going up to Revolver to just different things that we've done together and then individually. The trips to St. Louis, where I could go on and on. Like
Salina going out there and driving back. You know,
my man doing the ring announcer. Hey, how do you pronounce Kit's last name again?
Reaver, Kit Reaver?
No, bro.
Kit Revere.
Kit
Revere.
Yeah, quick story. My man gets the commentary gig.
Yep.
First time out. Everybody, you should know, everybody KWA fans or whatever, right? Kit Reaver.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man, he wanted to dub Kit Revere.
Yeah.
And Kit's already, well, at least when he's doing his thing, he's not a guy that you want to rub the wrong way.
No.
Bro, the death stare that this guy
and that's just,
he shook him up for the next match and a half. He was trading hands.
And that's just one of the many adventures that him and I have been on with
Royal Alliance, bro.
Yep. And even that same show that I mispronounced it, I had a few adult beverages that night, and it was a 3-hour drive from there back to Kansas City. And this guy, I didn't want him to let her drive alone and, dark roads, dark highway. So even though I was very intoxicated, I proceeded for 3 hours to rap in his ear. I think I might have sang Razor Ramon's theme song or something like that. But that's the type of way pro wrestling and Wrestle Talk podcasts have affected our life. Something for the better, funny stories, everything in between them, man. So to be at episode 500 and to be here, and yes, elephant in the room, everybody know him and I have personal issues. But for one little small hiccup over 20-something freaking years, no, absolutely not. And Wrestle Talk podcast was a big reason for the negative and the positive. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
And it's all love, dude. And, again, to bring back Rick Rose, to bring back Nini, WWC.
Shout out to the Voodoo Master,
Shout out to the Voodoo Master.
That's a good callback right there.
Yeah, man. It's just so crazy to be
Shout out to Big Cheese, bro.
Shout out to Big Cheese, bro.
God rest in peace.
So many people, and to have all the guests we did, man. Listen, we could go on for another 3 hours.
Shout out to El Diablo too.
Shout out to El Diablo.
Yeah, that boy's so busy right now. If there's anybody that should have made an appearance tonight that couldn't, I mean, there's probably a pretty long list.
Absolutely.
Like Sadie Blaze would have been cool or whatever, but hey, who knows? And that's really the big thing. You want to talk about elephant in the room? I guess I'll take it from here. What's next?
That's $1 million question.
We're gonna come back to that. I want Hoss to have his recollection.
Well,
his
real
callback
quick, so
too.
let me wrap it up on me.
Please do,
guys. Thank you. I seriously, as a shoot, one way or another, I legit love each and every one of you. I love you guys for real, and to Susie Hoss every week, and all the great fans of the show. To all the guests that we've had on, that we've got along with, that we didn't get along with, that whatever it may be, for me to be a part of that, even a small blimp or a couple hundred episodes, I'm very much appreciated. And no matter what happens from here on out, I hope it's onwards and upwards for everybody individually, but even us as a team when we're sticking together and doing the thing. Just like today, getting it to 500, bro. So thank you, guys. I love each and every one of you.
And by the way, this guy doesn't think he's really like a part of the podcast right now. He was just texting me like, hey, bro, you should have such and such on the show. I'm like, bro, I don't even know what's about to happen. He's still sending me names and messaging people. So it's in the blood.
Shout out Teddy Hart. Shout out Joe Henry.
Go ahead, Rob. Who's next? I think Johnny Boy's next.
Hardcore Hoss, you're the man that often doesn't get a chance to say a lot. But we want to give you the floor because, again, you're one of those where I got to tell you, everything that you do for this show, again, a lot of people don't even begin to understand a millionth of what you do for this show. And it would only be just to give you your opportunity to have a minute to kind of voice how you feel as we kind of start wrapping up episode 500.
It's just surreal to be at episode 500 and to be a part of this. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys. When I started into this podcast, I offered to help with the call-ins on the board, to screen the callers and do the drops and stuff like that back on Blog Talk because Joe had mentioned that, him and Renee wanted to get somebody to do that so that they wouldn't have to keep clicking off. And, I started just simply doing that. And by doing that, I got to talk to a lot of people that, I never imagined. Talking with Gang Grill, talking with Al Snow, Cowboy Bob Orton. I got to talk to a lot of these guys outside of the interview, and that was absolutely crazy to me.
Still
to be
cool
able
as
to
hell,
talk
ain't
to
it?
these people. And just, going forwards, then, there was a couple shows that needed help and said, hey, would you mind stepping in and helping us as a co-host? And, evolving up to this point and helping to get onto the StreamYard platform. And it's just been absolutely crazy to where it is now. And it's just, to be a part of this is really something. So, thank you to each and every one of you. And, going through this, it's kind of been funny because I started going to indie shows before I was a part of the podcast. But, one person that always I'd go head to head with, and Susie would too, at the independent shows, was Doug Rafferty. And even when we would go, see him in the parking lot, he was still that heel Doug Rafferty. And he would not break character for anything. It actually took for me answering the phone when he called in and then going up to him after that interview and saying, thank you for being on the show, before he actually broke character with me. And since then, him and I, we actually, we message back and forth with each other and talk. And I actually have a shirt of Doug Rafferty's on the wall that he outright gave to me and autographed for me. So, it's really been something, and it's been a big part of things. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to the fans of Wrestle Talk Podcast, each and every host that's here. And, just, I can't thank everybody enough.
Well, can I make a quick sidebar on Haas? It's not hopefully going to be too wordy, but so John loves this place so much that he actually even brings his family with him. You brought her up.
Yep.
Susie's here every week in the comment section. I gotta shout out Sis.
Yeah, bro. She definitely deserves her recognition here because she's literally Renee.
She got her kiss from Doug Rafferty.
She's
at the Hall
week in and week out
Yo,
at wrestling. Yeah, Susie Haas is here more than some of the hosts, bro. She tell me I'm lying. Tell me I ain't lying, bro. She's at every
wait. I think Corey Graves got an opinion.
What's that?
Very, very impressive.
Yeah. Very impressive. Very
She's
impressive.
here week in and week out. She ain't missing the show. So
shout out to you,
get your shine, Susie Hall. You deserve it, sweetheart.
Yeah, so John, that's what he does, man. He brings his family in on it, bro.
That's killer.
That's great. My man got himself set up. I remember John's first background.
Yeah.
When he first came on, that shit looked rad. The Venezuelans were looking at him, going like, "Man, this is poor guy." Now look at him; he's flossing. Skywalker wants to laugh, but he can't.
Yeah.
Hey, Skywalker, one thing. I was gonna let you say this, but bro, is your jacket inspired by Craig Sager? Is it from the Craig Sager line? Looks like some Craig Sager.
Hey,
wearing
I gotta represent here on 500, guys. I mean, again,
like
this is one of those.
It took you 250 episodes of me calling you Flywalker to finally come out. And
finally, he earned it.
I'm not saying nothing else about your other attire there, Flywalker. I'm not saying nothing else about your other gear. But I've been calling you Flywalker, not Skywalker. And I'm the only one who's been doing that consistently.
He earned it
here
today.
on
I'm gonna call it Skywalker today.
So Flywalker, I've been calling you Flywalker for like 257 now, bro. And you finally showed up in the piece. You're my guy, man.
We get the epic wing sound effect for that jacket. Let's see it. Let's see it. I gotta open that thing. Open it. Oh, you guys are ridiculous.
Well, guys,
I love you, bro. Yeah, and we'll go back to the I just want to say, Hoss, man, thank you, bro, for your sacrifices, both on screen and everything you do. Like Skywalker said, man, you are an invaluable part of this team, and we love you, bro. God bless you.
Yep.
And as far as where I'll be coming up, I'm actually Susie bought tickets for my birthday tomorrow to go to micro wrestling, so I will actually be seeing Luke's nephew again. It's Micro 2, so he will be there at Ranson Civic Center, and then in 2 weeks I will be at the next WDWA show. So
shout out to Gavin. Shout out to the team out there. We love y'all, man.
Shout out to Gavin. And one of the things I find absolutely so cool is, I've been going to WDWA for several years and been supporting them. And, since Gavin took over, WDWA has just been absolutely blowing up. And a fan that we have had here on Wrestle Talk Podcast recently, since WDWA has been blowing up and Gavin took over, is Jackson in the comments. That is Gavin Jackson's son. So here I support WDWA and roundabout WDWA supports us as well by Jackson chiming in. So, I think that's absolutely awesome the way. And every time I go to a show, Jackson comes running up to me and, hey, who's going to be on the show next? Hey, what's happening next? And so it's absolutely awesome, because that makes the owner of an independent wrestling show's son just as big a fan of ours as
we are of
WDWA.
Here, kind of like what I said in my closing statements, this show has positively affected our lives in the biggest picture scope of it all. So to have something like that, that's kind of what I mean. So, Hoss, dude, I love you to death. And, for real, thank you for all your contributions to Wrestle Talk Podcast. And even more to FWWC, because it makes this guy just a little bit less cranky when you are doing the active duties of Wrestle Talk Podcast and FWWC. So thank you for that. For real. Honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart, John Austin.
Yeah, I agree.
And yo, onwards and upwards from here, baby.
No, you know what, though? It wouldn't be an episode if we didn't get Hoss's
That's right.
Yeah, Hoss, can we get one, bro, just for old times?
One more time, Hoss.
Can we get one?
That's right.
That's right. Let's go.
Well, gentlemen,
baby,
I'm gonna jump in here again. Episode 500 is, as Rodell talked about earlier on, we've been around with the Wrestle Talk Podcast now 300 plus episodes. And I remember one of the first episodes we were part of, the first episode was one of the Night Owls first as well. And I mean, again, over the course of several years, Wrestle Talk Podcast has grown by leaps and bounds. I got to say that being able to see and just going out there, the idea of seeing the evolution of Hoss becoming literally a great sound engineer for us and a great advocate for professional wrestling across the country. The road trips with Rodell, all the grief we give Arsene and the Maestro, but I mean, again, when he called Jeremy,
he chose that lifestyle. He decided to be a Browns fan, right?
Yeah. He called, but when you have Gabriel Arsene calling Jeremy Lightfoot Jeremy Lightweight, or the whole or the whole Gilbert episode, or again, and Sonny, I know for a fact the whole Flywalker thing, that was one of the things I look forward to each and every time you and I were together, because the idea that anybody that knows me, I am the most straightforward person when it comes to things. I follow as
every day. This dude showers in a polo and khakis.
That's cool, bro.
Is the night. As the Night Owl says, it's like I always try to keep it sharp like a number 2 pencil each and every day.
That's it, baby. That's it.
But again, that you guys have grown into a family that, I mean, again, just a few weeks ago, being told that I'm going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that was one of those where this was the one place that I didn't figure that kind of announcement was going to pop up and have everybody there and things like that. And we've already got things taken care of to where we're going to be all together again for the Hall of Fame in June. But I mean, again, just the friendships, the bonds, the talks, you name it, again, going up. And I don't think I ever shared the story with anybody other than the Night Owl. The time we went up for Royal up in KC, and I went up there and I had a couple guys in my car, and the idea of one of the gentlemen in our traveling contingent coming real close. We stopped at the Iron Skillet, and it literally, we thought that this guy was actually going to climb up onto, we were at the diner style area, and he was about this close from climbing up on the diner to turn on the ceiling fan. And the lady behind us thought that he was actually going to try to table dance on the rail. But no, I mean, it's one of those where, again, I can't imagine anything but being a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. And guys, thank you for everything, your friendship, your time, your energy. Without you, without the fans, without the sponsors, without everybody, we don't get to where we are today. And for those who want to catch up with me, about an hour, I'm going to be joining the folks at the Hall of Fame as part of SBAC's 125th anniversary. I'll be heading actually there within the next hour. Also, John Holt, 10, night 2 at the Sports Academy in Glen Carbon tonight, 7 o'clock. The event starts. We have a main event, CHWA Undisputed Championship, the one-man zoo, L. Ride, a man that you saw here earlier tonight taking on the Undisputed Champion, the Windows Destruction Makasi, the first defense of the CHWA One-Up Championship by Cardi Marty, lots of other great wrestling action. And I will be doing commentary throughout the course of the evening with fellow Hall of Famer and other member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, the one, the only Jeremy Lightfoot, and I doing commentary tonight as a part of John Holt, 10, night 2. Guys, I have to say thank you for letting me be a part of this. Night Owl, I'm going to go ahead and throw things to you, and then I got one last little thing before we call it a night.
You got it, man. Sounds good. Son?
I don't care what you guys think. The honest to God's truth. This man right here is the pulse and the blood of Wrestle Talk podcast and the Fantasy Worldwide chapter. All right? Not saying that no one out there has not done the work, because we all know we have put in hours and we've done it for him and for this episode and for all 499 episodes before that. All right? Because of pro wrestling, and because of Renee, the Night Owl Martinez, this is why we're at episode 500, folks. So, Renee, I want to tell you thank you from the bottom of my heart, bro. And that's from everybody else here. Seriously, thank you. All the work, effort, everything you've put in, bro. You deserve it. You deserve to have the floor right here. The floor is yours. Out of everybody here, everybody said their piece and thank yous and where we're going to catch them. But time is now yours, bro. Speak on it.
Man, so I don't have no notes or nothing, and I didn't really know we were gonna summarize like this. So
off the cuff,
it'll be off the cuff. I'll just keep it locked into one thing, man. Everybody's kind of put everybody over, and I mean I could go on and on about how much I love and appreciate you guys, but the reality is about two things. It's about the past and the present. We can predict the future. We can appreciate the past. And hopefully, if we do that, the future takes care of itself. So for me, it just comes down to thanking the people that we haven't mentioned tonight. We mentioned everybody, bro. The fans, the sponsors, the co-hosts, everybody, bro. You know who we didn't mention?
Who's that?
Your wife.
Yep.
My wife.
Yep.
Your kids.
Yep.
My kids.
Yep.
Rodell's mom.
Yep.
Skywalker's wife.
Yep.
Carp's family.
Yep.
You know, John's. Obviously, we mentioned Susie, but we didn't mention. You know, all these people that never get mentioned that allow us the opportunity to be able to do this, bro. Yep. Let me put them over above everything else, because some of these people don't even watch the show.
No.
But if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for them watching Jay and Ben and Max, right? Or
if Rachel, the Queen Mayo of the household, if she didn't hold down the household
we
and
couldn't
hold down
even
the kids,
be getting together like
bro,
this.
I would have got about episode 1.5. All right. So
yeah, well, that's exactly how I feel, bro.
Yep.
If it wasn't for my beautiful wife and my children and all my wonderful friends, you know, like obviously having you and Dewan here was like really special for a lot of reasons.
Sure.
But more than anything else, like I don't have, you guys know, like my family doesn't really live in Kansas City. My family's in Florida and Mexico and some in Chicago. So to have been embraced by this community, bro, and to have like my family, my real family be like, hey, yo, go do you. And I don't know, man, like it's like a full circle moment, because you remember we got picked up by your mom from the movies, like who knows when, right?
Right.
And she's like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to be like a sportscaster.
Yep.
I want to be like on Sports Center.
Yep. And
Like
my mom still talks about that story to this day.
Stuart Scott. Yeah, I remember that was my favorite. Cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Yep.
So maybe I never made it to Sports Center, bro, but this to me is better, because you know what? This is our thing.
Yep.
La Costa Nostra.
Yeah, this is
That's what this is, man. That's why we call it the Wrestle Talk Podcast family. Everybody likes to call themselves brothers or whatever, but this to me really feels that way. And again, for the people in the periphery, you know, the direct family members that allow us to be a part of this community, man, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much for letting us lean into our passions and have so much fun doing it. I don't know how I've been sitting here, bro. My ass is like numb. I have not gotten up from here. My man's like, yo, I gotta stretch my legs.
I did the
I was like, I understand.
I did the shooting star press.
He did.
I was stretching for the Olympics in 4 years, bro. I couldn't see. This man's been sitting here, and that's the kind of small details that I mean right now. To sit here like this, you know what I mean? To sit in the car for 3 hours to go one way, and then go sit down for another 3 hours commentating the show, and then another 3 hours standing, and another 3 hour drive back home. I should love it.
On a hot dog.
You know,
on a hot dog.
Yeah. But that's the love for pro wrestling, and you put that much effort into that as you do Wrestle Talk and FWWC, bro. You know
it's my passion. It's my love, bro.
Yep.
The people in the periphery, and then obviously everybody involved. All I can say going into the future is all 500 episodes are one thing to me, and it's a feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in terms of what we do after today, you guys will have to stay tuned, because that decision has actually not been made yet. What the show's going to look like beyond this point, on a bunch of different levels. So hopefully if you've been entertained even once, or you've been blessed even once by Big Daddy P, or you've had a laugh listening to the FWWC guys argue with each other like we had with Hoss and Ace just a couple of minutes ago, like, yeah, hopefully it'll be worth your time to stay tuned and figure out what's happening next. But, you know, for me to you guys, I tip my cap. I know it's an old school thing, kind of out of fashion, to everybody who's ever even locked in once, even the trolls that we've had. Because, you know, people have locked in on a stream or whatever because it's public and they come on and they talk this shit. Even you guys, we appreciate, because even the haters need something to do.
And even
I'm glad we're keeping them busy.
Listen, even the biters too, because this podcast got so successful in like episode 200. We had people doing a wrestling podcast that was almost T for T of what we were doing on Wrestle Talk podcast. So shout out to them and much love to them, bro. You know what I mean? They must have been fans of something. So hey,
pause.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring everybody back in here, y'all. That's all I want to say. I don't want to get too emotional, but hopefully, you know, 20, 30 years from now, when my son misses me and he's like, man, I miss my dad being stupid and silly and all that, which is pretty often.
He's got 500 whole episodes
here.
of Wrestle Talk podcast to go back and
the
look
ones
at.
that ain't on here, they're all still on Blog Talk, like I said. So. Skywalker, mute.
Great episode. Oh, well, there we go. It only took me 3 hours to have that problem today.
No, you did good,
but when it comes down to it, again, we want to one last thing. We want to thank our great sponsors. So we can go ahead and roll them out one more time. Again, Royal Mills Transportation, the CEO, Dewan Mills. We've also got Nobleman's Barber Lounge, Kansas City, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, our great friends over at Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Designs, home of those great Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers. If you want to purchase a tumbler just like Hardcore Hoss has right there, make it a point to get in contact with all of us here at the Wrestle Talk podcast. We can get you hooked up with that. And the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, as you can see right here. If you want to join the FWWC, there's the information. Join the Facebook group for that. Gentlemen, again, hands down, we got there. Episode 500 is in the books. Before we go, we're going to do something a little bit different this time. We did have, and again, another thing I kind of kept close to the chest here. Last night, I was at CHWA's John Holt Yo Night 1. And even the night before episode 500, my phone was blowing up with people sending congratulations and their thoughts. So what we're going to do here real quick is we're going to send you off. We're not going to be on next Tuesday in 2 days because, again, it's one of those where this was a special episode. We're going to be back a week from Tuesday night. And again, keep on social.
That is yet to be seen.
Yeah, yet to be
Right. But like I said,
Right.
we're gonna have the information coming out here on that. But when it comes down to it, again, we're not going to be on Tuesday night. This was, again, we're 3 hours strong, actually 3:03 here. Again, kind of standard here for the Wrestle Talk podcast. But we're going to go ahead and we got one.
Is that where we at? We ain't doing that, bro.
I love live radio.
Yo,
It's so good.
that's the best part of Wrestle Talk podcast, bro.
That is not the best part.
No, because you used to hang up on Blog Talk Radio.
Do we have to restart the whole show?
I used to be holding the phone, pointing at you, falling asleep at your dining room, so you see the camera just do this. It would just the frame would shake. And we're even now at episode 500, and my man Flywalker, come on, baby.
Is he back?
Come on, baby.
No.
We're finishing strong.
Yeah, hey, Hoss, do we know what he was gonna play? I think Hoss doesn't know he's muted. It's okay. It's all right.
We can't hear you, brother.
You're muted.
See, it's contagious.
It is. It is contagious.
But yeah, I think he was trying to get to this last video because there's a 7-minute video here that we have yet to play.
Yeah, hey, no, let me say one last thing before we play it. John, love you, bro. Thank you for everything that you continue to do. Skywalker, we know you got to get to night 2. So that's our it was about
you gotta
time.
go, bro.
Yeah, God was like, hey, bro, we love you, but you got to go. So
go time.
Let us close it out with what I consider to be one of the coolest things. I mean, obviously, you saw what happened tonight with all the recognitions.
Sure.
And the representative
Beautiful
coming in.
Way to spend 500, bro.
No, it was wonderful, but bro, that's not it.
No?
We had a bunch of other people that wanted to contribute and give us a shout out. So let's close it out doing what we do best. Let's put the shine on somebody else.
That's what it's about at Wrestle Talk.
My man, bro. Thank you. Hoss, thank you, bro. A beautiful episode. And again, everybody, we will be back in touch with you very soon in terms of what the future is beyond episode 500 of Wrestle Talk Podcast. Y'all have a good night.
Peace.
Let's go ahead and play,
Thank
y'all.
you.
Adios. Peace.
Wrestle Talk Podcast, Herb Simmons here from SICW, wanting to wish you the best 500 episodes. What a milestone. You know, nowadays, if you can get a couple of videos and a couple of shows, then you're really doing good, especially when you're reporting on something that we all have a passion for, and that's professional wrestling. But to hit 500, I'm proud to say you guys have done it. I've tried to watch as many of them as possible, try to spread the word, because it's programs like yours, it's out there keeping the business alive. So congratulations on 500 episodes, and I hope you reach another 500 in the near future. And keep up the good work, all of you, Renee, Luke, all of you, just keep on putting them out there, keeping the information going. 500, that's a great accomplishment. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of it. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is the referee, Aaron Lawrence. I just wanted to say congratulations to the Wrestle Talk podcast on episode 500. I'm personally a longtime viewer, and if you guys keep pumping them out, I'll keep watching.
The 500th episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast. What an infecting accomplishment. Congratulations from the parasite.
Hello everyone, I am Angelo Grimsley, the fairy tale villain who everyone loves besides the Wrestle Talk podcast. See, you guys like to talk shit on me, but I'm going to be the bigger person, because while you guys might not love me, at least this belt does. And as much as this is important to me, I understand this podcast is important to you. So, 500 episodes? Congratulations, guys. Really, from the bottom of my heart, I mean that, and I hope you have at least 500 more.
Hey, Wrestle Talk, it's Freddie Fame, Fabulous Freddie Fame with Duke City Championship Wrestling, and I just wanted to say, congratulations, boys. 500 is a big deal in the world of pro wrestling talk. It's a big deal in the world of podcasting. It's a big deal in this industry that we call entertainment. And for you guys to have done it so well, so long, ahead of the curve, you were at the height during the curve. Obviously, the momentum you're still carrying, the support you've given to Duke City Championship Wrestling all these years means more than the world to me. Big thank you to Wrestle Talk as they've introduced us to different performers around the country. They've told our story to audiences that we wouldn't traditionally have here in Albuquerque at Duke City Championship Wrestling. A bunch of pros, tremendous formats, some of the best gets that I have ever heard got on independent pro wrestling circuit, and also some of the biggest names in the game. So to everyone over at Wrestle Talk on number 500, thank you. More than a big deal. A world of impressed is Duke City Championship Wrestling. And I think I say this every time we do our radio show going over, or every time we do a pro wrestling product at Duke City. We are only here because of the talent that surrounds us, and Wrestle Talk is absolutely that. 500 of them is huge. Congratulations, boys. The Southwest sees you. Duke City Championship Wrestling sees you, and Fabulous Freddie Fame sees you. Good job, everyone.
What's up, everybody? My name's Tyler Cooley, and I just want to congratulate my good friends over at the Wrestle Talk podcast on 500 episodes. That is a huge milestone. You guys are continuing to kill it each and every single week, and I was blessed and honored to be a part of one of the episodes. Guys, I'm sending you so much love. Continue to keep doing what you're doing, and I can't wait to see what's next for the Wrestle Talk podcast. Let's get to 1,000.
What's up, everybody? It is your crowd pleaser and your new CHWA One No Champion, Cardi Marty. I am feeling a little cuckoo right now, but I had to make sure that I wish our Wrestle Talk podcast a happy 500 episode.
Hey everybody, this is Harry Slash. Back in the day, I did a few little tunes for a company called ECW. Now I do congratulatory shout-outs to Wrestle Talk Podcast. 500 episodes. Congratulations, guys. 500. That's a magic number.
Wrestle Talk. Waylon congratulates you. 500 episodes.
What the hell are we doing here?
I have no idea.
You forced me to be here. What's going on?
Supposedly we have to do something for some podcast, Wrestle Talk, something like that. One of those 500 podcasts.
Oh, is that the dumb one with that idiot Luke Roberts?
Yeah, that dude's like fat, eats like a lot of Twinkies.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah.
You're an idiot, Luke. But
Yeah.
hey, congratulations on your 500th episode coming up here at Wrestle Talk Podcast. You've successfully spent so much time not talking about anything and wasting everyone's time. So tomorrow though, I wanted to say this. I will be at the South Broadway Athletic Club celebrating the 125th anniversary of that club. I will be in the main event in the Lumberjack match against Slammer for the NMWA Heavyweight Championship. And I'm bringing home the gold, baby. It'll be a new era. You can post that on your little wrestle chat talk
Whatever.
trash. So you're welcome for me being here.
Hey guys, Jeremy Lightfoot coming at you. 500 episodes. Can you believe it? Over a decade, the Wrestle Talk podcast. Big names, local heroes, local legends, big legends. They do it all. 500 episodes. Congratulations, guys. I've been on the show. Enemies have been on the show. Tag partners, even my family, the Lightfoot legacy, has been on the Wrestle Talk podcast. To all you guys, because it would take me forever to thank everybody behind the scenes as well as everybody on camera. Congratulations on 500 episodes.